तो गुड आफ्टरनून फ्रेंड्स। कल आपका टेस्ट है उसी शेड्यूल पे। सिलेबस इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया जितना हो जाएगा विल इंक्लूड ऑल दैट। ओके, तो टुडे वट एवर वी फिनिश दैट वुड बी पार्ट ऑफ योर सिलेबस। हम इकोनॉमी का एक और फुल टेस्ट ले लेंगे 2 वीक्स लेटर। नेक्स्ट वीक वी आर टेकिंग अ फुल टेस्ट ऑन साइंस एंड टेक्नो, तो विल अगेन टेक एन इकोनॉमी फुल टेस्ट by that time. Your budget and ESI and everything else would also be done, so we'll do that. But tomorrow please attend, all of you please attend the test tomorrow. मुझे इतना ही क्राउड, इससे ज़्यादा क्राउड चाहिए while attempting test. You should have that exam वाला feeling. Okay, and please अच्छे से रिवाइज कर लीजिए of the entire basics of economy and economic survey of India. We were in the last class we were dealing with the chapter 6, which dealt with various social aspects, various schemes, programs, and today we'll be continuing with that only. Wahi some important schemes that were being run by government in last 1 year, in the last financial year, we are discussing that. So in the last class we were dealing with rural India and initiatives related to rural India, and I had said that we would be एक मिनट वॉल्यूम नहीं है क्या? हाँ तो रही है. We would be continuing with the rural India before we jump on to other aspects. So let us quickly go through this. Now for people who are watching online, please note there are 2 live classes today. The first one has started now at 5 p.m. The second one would be, first one has started now at 2 p.m. Second one would be starting at 5 p.m. Okay, so that's a different live class. It would not be continuing in this only. Okay, now अरुण श्रीवास्तव सिंह सर, क्या टेस्ट पेपर टेलीग्राम पर भी अपलोड कर सकते हो? नहीं नहीं, दैट वोंट बी पॉसिबल. टेस्ट इज पार्ट ऑफ द पेड इनिशिएटिव, लाइक फॉर स्टूडेंट्स हु हैव जॉइन्ड द प्रोग्राम. आई वोंट बी एबल टू अपलोड इट ऑन टेलीग्राम. इन फैक्ट दिस इज लाइक इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया एंड बजट लास्ट फ्री कॉम्पोनेंट है इस प्रोग्राम का. आफ्टर दैट इंक्लूडिंग RTFQ, मुझे कल बहुत सारे बच्चों ने कंप्लेन करी है, so I'll include 100 questions, maybe I'll discuss online, but remaining 500 questions would be done internally among the students only, rather than we doing it online. Okay, so let's come back to this. So we were talking about rural initiative. तो उसमें एक है स्वच्छ भारत मिशन ग्रामीण. Now all of us know about Swachh Bharat mission. It is one of the flagship mission of the Modi government, and in 2014 it was announced that by 2019 India में cleanliness के towards certain targets were set, and that would be achieved. Swachh Bharat mission has 2 components. One was Swachh Bharat mission urban, another is Swachh Bharat mission Grameen. Because we are talking about rural India, we'll here talk about Swachh Bharat mission Grameen. Swachh Bharat mission Grameen में what was the idea? Idea was to make India open defecation free by 2019. 2014 में initiative start हुआ था. By 2nd October 2019, India should be made open defecation free as per economic survey of India. India was able to achieve this target, and in 2019 we were able to लिखा होगा कहीं, हाँ, having achieved the ODF status in all villages in the country as of 2nd October 2019. So all the villages in India are open defecation free. That is something that we have achieved. Now the next phase of Swachh Bharat mission Grameen is going on, and this next phase is being implemented from FY21 to FY25, and here the target is to make Indian villages ODF plus. ODF में तो it was just open defecation free. In ODF plus there is focus on solid and liquid waste management also. Fine, did we get it? तो पहले ODF open defecation free करना था, उसके लिए toilets were being built and everything, those things were happening. That was completed on 2nd October 2019, and now between 2021 and 2025 the target is to make our villages ODF plus. इसका मतलब है in plus, other than being open defecation free, solid and liquid waste management facilities should also be there in the villages. And as per economic survey of India, as of 10th of November 2022, around 1.2 lakh villages have been declared ODF plus. We have 6.5 lakh villages, उसमें से around 1.2 lakh villages have already been declared ODF plus. Okay, so please do not assume कि I'm a big supporter of government or I am a big critic of government. Here I'm just doing what is given in economic survey of India. है ना. तो आई नो मेनी ऑफ यू मे हैव सीन कि सर ओडीएफ तो नहीं हुए विलेजेस, अभी भी लोग ओपन डेफिकेशन कर रहे हैं. वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट एनी ऑफ दोज थिंग्स. आवर फोकस इज ऑन what is given in Economic Survey of India. Economic Survey of India says that we have achieved the ODF plus status in on 2nd October 2000, ODF status on 2nd October 2019. Okay, then एक और इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है, वन ऑफ द यूनियन टेरिटरीज अंडमान एंड निकोबार has already made all its villages ODF plus. This is the first union territory and first state or union territory to make all its villages ODF plus, and thus it is also being called first Swachh Sujal Pradesh. The entire state or UT has been made ODF plus. Are we clear about it? Are we comfortable with this? Swachh Bharat Mission Grameen, rural area के लिए. Then we have Pradhan Mantri Ujwalla Yojana. Ujwalla Yojana में so before Ujwalla Yojana was there, our rural households used to depend on dirty fuel like cow dung cake or wood, which used to be very polluting in nature. It impacted health of women, children, and it increased the indoor air pollution like anything. It also made women waste a lot of time in collecting these things, which she could have used for other things like education and other aspects. And therefore, Ujwalla initiative के अंदर the target was to provide LPG or other clean fuel mechanisms to these rural Ujwalla. So the scheme was launched in 2016 as a flagship scheme to make clean cooking fuel such as LPG available to rural and deprived households. Now, initially the target was that by 2018, in 3 years, 2016, 17, 18, by 2018, 5 crore families would be covered through this free cooking connections, free LPG connection mechanism. Later, the target was extended to 2020 and 8 crore free LPG cylinder connections. इसमें आपको LPG cylinder का connection free मिलता है, but you had to spend on other things like refilling and those aspects. Right now, initially, this free connection was for BPL families, families which were below poverty line. Later, in 2018, eligibility criteria was extended to all these families, all SC/ST households, beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Grameen, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, forest dwellers, most backward classes, T and XT garden tribes, people residing in island and rivers. In सब के लिए this free connection was provided for under Pradhan Mantri Ujwalla Yojana. तो उज्ज्वला योजना वैसे तो किसके लिए था? BPL के लिए initially, but then it was extended to all this group because we know that a lot of people are not able to get BPL certificates in spite of they being very poor, in very poor shape and conditions. Okay, now there's one more interesting aspect that this connection was being provided in the name of women. If there is no women in the household, then the situation was different. That's an extremely exceptional case, but generally it was provided in the name of women. The release of 9.4 crore LPG connection, the scheme has also helped in increasing the LPG coverage from 62%. So 62% of the households could access LPG in 2016 to 99.8% of the households in April 2021. Now please note something. Here we are not saying that 99.8% of the households are using LPG as they have access to it. Now आपको refill करवाते टाइम तो पैसे देने पड़ते हैं. So rural households or poor households are not finding it a very lucrative thing. उनके लिए spending 1,000 rupees in filling LPG is too high. They would rather go for buy cow dung mechanism and all. So those problems are there. When we'll study it for mains examination, we'll understand the problems because of which Ujwalla is not very successful here. But Economic Survey of India, जिसमें we are talking about all the good things that may have happened. Okay. Now, Pradhan Mantri Ujwalla Yojana ka phase 2 was launched in 2021. In fact, its announcement was made in the budget. In this phase 2, the target was another 1 crore families. Which 1 crore families which had remained uncovered in the previous schemes, especially the migrants. What happens with the migrants is, suppose a laborer from Bihar has moved to Delhi Now this person may not have proper documents and all. तो इसकी वजह से जो प्रधानमंत्री उज्ज्वला योजना का ओरिजिनल कंडीशंस व्हिच वर देयर वर डिफिकल्ट टू अचीव फॉर दिस पर्सन. So this person was not able to get LPG connection, or not able to benefit from the free LPG connection. So here some conditions were simplified. The migrants could only give an undertaking. I'm a migrant worker from this place, and that was enough for getting a connection, getting a LPG connection. So here 1 crore more families were to be targeted, and special focus was there on the migrants. And then some more benefits were there. Here not only will you get the LPG connection free, जिसमें आपको सिलेंडर मिलता है, गैस मिलती है initially, your first refill would also be free. Your hot plate will also be provided to you free of cost. Hot plate, what is hot plate? Do we understand? Stove, गैस का जो other than cylinder, the stove as well as first refill was free of cost. Original वाले में पहला cylinder was free, but for stove you had to pay money, and those limitations were there. Sorry, तेज बोलिए. 16,000 what? 1600 रुपीज. क्या मैंने 1000 लिख दिया है क्या? अच्छा, जीरो आप ज्यादा एक ऐड कर लेते हो. सबको आते हैं ऐसे सपने, मेरी सैलरी में एक जीरो और ऐड हो जाए. आपको भी आ रहे हैं, ठीक है. नहीं, these poor bureaucrats have this सपना ज्यादा. उनकी सैलरी ऐसे बहुत कम होती है. आप जब आप IAS बन जाओगे, और स्पेशली अगर ईमानदार रहोगे, यानी से 50-60 हज़ार रुपये मिल रहे होंगे, और आप अपने दोस्तों को देखोगे जो गधे थे और MNCs में जॉब कर रहे हैं, उनको 1.5 लाख मिल रहे हैं, तो you'll be like यार, हैं ज़्यादा पैसे का क्या करना है. ये इतना बेशरम आदमी है, इसके दिल्ली के हर कॉर्नर में घर है, और मुझे बोल रहा है कि ज़्यादा पैसों का क्या करना है ना. तुम घर अपना फ्री में दे दो मेरे को. हाँ सर, आ जाइए. मुझे नहीं, किसी जिसको जरूरत है उसे दे दो. ऐसे थोड़ी दे देंगे, नालायक. चलो, प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना, उज्ज्वला योजना समझा ना. उज्ज्वला योजना का ना एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज याद रखना. उज्ज्वला योजना इज बाय विच मिनिस्ट्री? इट इज बाय मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस. जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस है ना, थोड़ी सी कमर्शियल टाइप ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री, सोशल वेलफेयर में बिलीव नहीं करती है. तो दिस इज काइंड ऑफ द फर्स्ट इनिशिएटिव. इट इज बिलीव दैट दिस इज द फर्स्ट सच इनिशिएटिव विच इज अ वेलफेयर स्कीम बाय दिस मिनिस्ट्री. ठीक है, ये बात समझ में आई. देन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट रूरल इंडिया. रूरल इंडिया में है एक प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना. ये मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट का, रूरल रोड्स, प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना. ओके, नाउ प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना स्टार्टेड इन 2000 ड्यूरिंग द वाजपेयी एरा. फोकस was on connecting by way of all weather roads all the unconnected habitations. So there were villages, there were small habitations जहाँ पे road connectivity was not there. The target was that all of them should be connected by road. प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना का एक टारगेट था. Habitation, now in a habitation only one house may be there, तो उसको connect करना was not the target. Where at least 500 people are living in those habitations, उसको connect करना by rural roads. This was the target of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Then other important aspect was upgradation of selected routes to provide full farm to market connectivity. गांव से market, which can be primary market, which now is Grameen agricultural market. उसमें connectivity देने के लिए road should be there. These were the two targets. Initially, the entire money for this was provided by central government, but later, after the 14th Finance Commission recommendation, 14th Finance Commission ने क्या किया? States के लिए पैसा बढ़ा दिया. 42% of the money had to go to state. This is what 14th Finance Commission did. The expenses for this was distributed between center and state, where center would be paying 60% and state would be paying 40% of the money. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana by Ministry of Rural Development. Now, in 2016, a new vertical, a new subcomponent of the initiative was launched, which is called Connecting Left-Wing Affected Area Scheme. Now, left-wing affected area or Maoist affected area, those areas had to be on priority connected by roads. So, हम चाहेंगे. Now, there were some special things about it. उसको नोट करते हैं. Here even major district roads could be constructed under this initiative. Originally only the rural roads were to be connected. प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना is for rural roads. District roads were not to be built under this initiative. District road build करने के लिए state governments अपने बाकी काम कर रही होंगी, but district roads were not supposed to be built under this initiative. But in left-wing affected areas where this scheme was being implemented, district roads could also be developed using PMGSY initiative, using PMGSY funds. Are we clear about it? Are we understanding this? Now, एक और interesting चीज देखना कि the national highways and state highways are still excluded from the project. जैसे originally प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना did not cover national highways, state highways or district roads. यहाँ पे only the district road component has been added. ऐसा नहीं है using the funds from प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना you start constructing state highways and all. Okay, only the left wing affected states were covered, and target of PMGSY प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना was initially क्या था, 500 लोगों का habitation cover करना. Here target was further enhanced and target was made कि habitation of 250 plus people should be covered by 2019. Government says that this has been achieved. In PMGSY phase 2, habitation of 100 plus and left wing affected blocks covered by March 2022. Phase 3 focus on sustainable maintenance of the road, and it is going on right now. Under this, the roads which have already been built, you have to protect them, you have to ensure them that they remain there. So sustainable maintenance of the road पे focus यहाँ पे है. It is aimed at consolidation of 1,25,000 kilometers through routes and major rural links that connect habitations to grams, higher secondary schools, hospitals and so on. प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना. Are we clear about it? Ministry of Rural Development का कुछ अलग अलग components भी हैं. Now there are some electricity related schemes. Let's talk about. ऐसे आपका स्कीम से मन भर जाएगा ना, नहीं भरेगा तो और करेंगे. We will अभी in agriculture also will discuss 50 plus schemes. Economic Survey of India may discuss only a few schemes, but हम अभी agriculture अपने हिसाब से जब पढ़ेंगे, we'll study agriculture in more details than what is given in Economic Survey of India. जैसे वो fiscal deficit और वो वाले chapters है ना, that is enough. Like Economic Survey of India is enough for us. But when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to infrastructure, I'll first cover Economic Survey of India, but मैं और भी आपके लिए फ्यूचर में कवर करूंगा agriculture को, Economic Survey of India को. Okay, now let's come back to सौभाग्य. प्रधान हाँ, कहाँ थे हम? सौभाग्य. Under Saubhagya, target was to provide electricity connection. To provide electricity connection to households. Please note, villages में नहीं, villages को electrify करने के लिए अलग schemes हैं. अब village में electricity पहुंच भी जाती है तो घरों में electricity connections were not there. तो यहाँ पे focus was not only rural India, focus was also urban India. Please note it. ग्राम सड़क योजना सिर्फ rural India के लिए है ना, इसीलिए हमने इसे अलग से electricity related schemes बोला है. We have not called it कि only rural, but यहाँ पे भी primary focus was rural India. Primary focus. सौभाग्य में आपको मीटर कनेक्शन दिया जाएगा. Now meter connection for people who cannot afford it, for let's say BPL families, it would be provided free of cost. For others, 500 rupees would be charged, but that 500 rupees does not have to be given upfront. Over the year, आपके मीटर, आपके इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल में a small component would be added through which they would be charging you that 500 rupees. सौभाग्य, प्रधानमंत्री सहज बिजली हर घर योजना, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पावर का एक इनिशिएटिव. Are we clear about it? So it was launched in 2017 with the objective to achieve universal household electrification by providing electricity connection to all willing unelectrified households in rural areas and all willing poor households in urban area. With this, it also wanted to improve environment, public and all those things. It is either free or small fee is there. Free for people identified by the socio-economic caste census 2011 and will be given at rupees 500 for others. For those areas where electricity connection has not reached, their households would be provided with solar photovoltaic based standalone system to ensure that they are also electrified. The implementing agency, Rural Electrification Corp, was the nodal agency for the scheme throughout the country, while there were public institutions, Panchayati Raj institutions and so on, who were responsible for contributing in the scheme at the local level. Funding, fund came from center, 60% fund came from center, bank loan provided for 30% of the funds and 10% came from state. Please note that this scheme is complementing Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana was ensuring that rural India is electrified. Rural India में electricity supply continuously रहे. Now rural India में this scheme is ensuring Saubhagya कि from village it reaches home. Right? The Saubhagya scheme has successfully completed at the close of March 2022. The scheme has been completed. Now, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. What is Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana? To understand the scheme or to understand the inspiration behind the scheme, we'll have to go to Gujarat. Gujarat mein, in rural electrification, a lot of work was done. There, in rural India, we always face this issue. There was an absence of feeder separation. जो agriculture की electricity है and जो households के लिए electricity है, that used to come on the same feed. Because of this, agriculture वाला electricity household में use हो रहा है, household वाला electricity is being used in agriculture. It created problems because in agriculture you need to run submersible and other such motors. In household, requirement is something else. In agriculture, you need to provide, even if you provide electricity for a few hours a day, that is completely fine, but that's not the case with households. Now, households mein you'll need to provide electricity for much longer duration. So to deal with those problems, these things were done in Gujarat, and Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana mein bhi these were the primary objectives. First, feeder separation. Household and agriculture, there would be different feeds for them. Second, strengthening of sub-transmission and distribution network, including metering at all levels. So, जो main electricity station है, वहाँ से the electricity reaching households, that strengthening of that system, including by adding meters at all the levels. When meters are there at all the level, then you can identify the region where electricity is being stolen. So basically, before this, what used to happen, meters were there in the households. But household wale, if they were stealing electricity means if they were bypassing the meter and getting electricity connection directly, it was not possible to know ki which region is consuming more excess electricity. But now, if you have this kind of system where, let's say these households are there, inka to individual meter hai, but in the main station also there's a meter. What happens in this case? If this doesn't add up to this reading, we would know in this area some stealing is going on, right? So this was an important component here. And then microgrid and off-grid distribution network and rural electrification, the initiatives of rural electrification which were already allowed or which were already sanctioned under the Rajiv Gandhi Grameen Vidyutikaran Yojana was also subsumed under this initiative. So rural electrification, then improving the efficiency there by separating of feeds and by improving infrastructure, all these three things are being done under Deen Dayal Upadhyay Grameen Jyoti Yojana, DDU. So we are electricity related, we have studied two schemes. One is Saubhagya, we have understood Saubhagya, and then Deen Dayal Upadhyay Grameen Jyoti Yojana. गांव में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पहुंच गई, घरों को इलेक्ट्रीफाई करने के लिए सौभाग्य. The scheme extends financial assistance for capital expenditure to distribution companies as well. Now, direct benefit transfer. Direct benefit transfer is not one particular scheme. This is something which is being used in all the social benefits related schemes in the country. जैसे एलपीजी सिलेंडर्स का डीबीटी हम सबके पास आया होगा 2014, 15, 16 में when it had started. अब तो एलपीजी पे सब्सिडी नहीं मिलता, but that time एलपीजी पे सब्सिडी was available and you paid the LPG company, the distributor, the entire money, and आपके account में the money used to come. So that was an example of money directly coming to your account from government's account. That was direct benefit transfer. Now direct benefit transfer has been made possible by Aadhaar, by Jandhan, so that everyone has an account, right? उससे पहले direct benefit transfer could have happened only in those people's account where only those people's account who had a bank account. And mobile phones allow users to know that how their account has received money. Mobile phones, through mobile banking, they can also use that money. So these things have allowed direct benefit transfer to become successful. So what is the situation right now? अगर आप DBT का progress देखेंगे, DBT was launched in 2013 and as of December 2022, it covers 300 central schemes and more than 2000 state schemes. This is the kind of impact that DBT is having, and these are the advantages. Why do we want to use direct benefit transfer? It ensures accurate identification and targeting of beneficiaries. पहले क्या होता? Suppose LPG subsidy was to be given. Because money had to go through agency or or let's say what used to happen was agency से आपको cylinder ही मिलेगा 350 rupees में. Now even if you are not going there, the agency person was selling it to someone else in 350 rupees and was charging some commission. So exact targeting was not happening. People who are supposed to get benefit were not actually getting benefit. In fact, I had seen this happening. Suppose you are the customer who has a LPG connection, you go to this agency and get your cylinder filled, and here earlier जब direct benefit transfer नहीं था, here you had to pay only let's say 300 rupees. इसको बाकी पैसा government देगी. This was the system earlier. Now in this system what used to happen, let's say I'm not going, he's selling it to some business person, some hotel wala who is not supposed to get subsidy. In not 350 rupees and 550 rupees. Real market price is 900 rupees. They both earn, government loses money. Exactly, we were not able to target the people who should be getting benefit. But now that's not the case. Only this person would get the benefit. Are we understanding it? So ऐसे ही बहुत सारे advantages हैं which DBT has made possible. Greater inclusion and ease of availing service. Getting the subsidy has become easy. And don't only think from the this perspective, cylinders perspective. There are 300 central schemes. आपका scholarship, आपके pension, all those things are happening through DBT, which has simplified the entire mechanism. It's much more transparent. The government will not be able to say हमने तो पैसे दे दिए while they have not given, because the transaction have to happen. Curbing of leakage in the benefit delivery process, creation of greater accountability on behalf of the government, facilitating reforms in the government, increasing in efficiency of the scheme delivery process, effectiveness of scheme through timely implementation. All these things have been made possible because of direct benefit transfer, DBTs. Okay, now schemes promoting governance at state level. State level की बजाय यहाँ पे ना और होना चाहिए थी, rural level ही होना चाहिए. But let's talk about schemes which are promoting good governance at the state level. उसमें the first thing that you are discussing, सर क्या टेस्ट पेपर टेलीग्राम पर भी अपलोड होगा? नहीं, टेस्ट पेपर विल नॉट बी अपलोडेड ऑन टेलीग्राम. इम्तियाज इज आस्किंग, सर submersible running on solar power batteries have been distributed here and we are using them for irrigation and sprays in apple orchards, but we are not allowed to use them at home. हाँ ठीक है. तो solar power based submersibles have been provided at many places. उसे भी हम पढ़ेंगे. And he is saying कि we are not allowed to use that for household activities. That is true. Sir, what is the disadvantage of the scheme? We are not going into that. Please understand, as I have told you, Economic Survey of India is not talking about any disadvantage. I am not discussing it. हम जब पढ़ेंगे इसे beyond Economic Survey of India, we will, as I have told you, we will keep on doing some more things at the time of mains. We'll do more analysis. There we'll discuss. यहाँ पे what my aim is, Economic Survey of India and budget फटाफट खत्म करते हैं in a comprehensive manner, because now when you are doing it, you must have realized कि इतने सारे schemes दिए हुए हैं इसमें. The most important schemes which government is implementing are these ones, no? हम इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया स्कीम्स यहाँ पढ़ के कोई 100 स्कीम्स का बुकलेट मिल जाता है वो पढ़ रहे होते हैं. They have given it more systematically, like rather than ministry wise देना सही नहीं होता, topic wise देना, subject wise देना ज़्यादा सही होता है. It's easy to understand, and they have done that, right? So we will do this. Now अगर आप पूछना चाहोगे कि डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर के वैसे नुकसान क्या है, तो देयर कैन बी मेनी डिसएडवांटेजेस. द मनी मे नॉट बी यूज्ड फॉर द पर्पस फॉर व्हिच इट इज बीइंग यूज्ड. दोज आर सम ऑफ द लिमिटेशंस, बट as such it is beneficial only. Fine. Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. Look at the name carefully, and it will help you understand what the scheme may be doing. Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. गांव में गवर्नेंस इंप्रूव करना. Now how will we do that? By strengthening पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन. अब पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन को एक स्ट्रेंथन किया जा सकता है वहां इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंप्रूव करके, but other kind of strengthening can be by training the functionaries, representatives, officers, right? These are the things which is being done under Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. Are we getting it? The नाम देखो और सोचो कि क्या हो रहा होगा. While revising also, before jumping on to exactly what is there in the scheme, think what they may be planning to do, and you will be able to quickly revise it. So Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan by Ministry of Panchayati Raj, it was approved in 2018 and for implementation during FY19 FY22. इसमें strengthening of PRI was one of the core initiative. Thus on convergence with strengthening PRIs and address critical gap that hinder its success. Then it also focused on convergence with Mission Antyodaya in 117 aspirational district. So 100 अभी हम पढ़ेंगे aspirational district program. Here we have identified 117 district. Niti Aayog has identified 117 district which is backward on certain parameters. और उन पे special focus हो रहा है. So here also they wanted convergence with कि पंचायती राज institutions in those 117 districts should also be prioritized, should also be strengthened. Now please note that the scheme is not only being implemented in the 9th schedule institution, 9th schedule state. 9th schedule क्या है? पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन पे है. तो जो रीजन्स, जो स्टेट्स 9th schedule जहां पे एप्लीकेबल है, जिन रीजन, हाँ सुनो बात समझो, रुको. क्या है? जहां पे वो एप्लीकेबल है, जहां पे पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशंस बने हैं, 11th शेड्यूल होना चाहिए ना, है ना? 9 क्यों बोल रहे हैं? हाँ, पार्ट 9, सॉरी, पार्ट 9 11th शेड्यूल, यस, पार्ट 9 11th शेड्यूल, आई एम सॉरी. Come back to this. So it's not supposed to be implemented only where Panchayati Raj institutions have been set up. Even at other places where Panchayati Raj institutions are not there, but other kind of rural governance mechanisms are there. है ना? Rural local bodies तो बाकी जगह भी हो सकती है जो कहाँ ना हो, which are not part of part 9 और 11th schedule. 9th schedule तो वो वाला है ना जहाँ पे जुडिशियल रिव्यू वाला. यस. हाँ, तो कमिंग बैक टू, हाँ, इवन देयर इट वुड बी इम्प्लीमेंटेड. तो इट्स नॉट सपोज टू बी ओनली फॉर पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशंस बट ऑल रूरल लोकल बॉडीज, रूरल लोकल गवर्नेंस इंस्टीट्यूशंस को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए. फर्स्ट, डिड वी अंडरस्टैंड दिस? है ना? तो द स्कीम एक्सटेंड्स टू ऑल स्टेट्स एंड यूटीज ऑफ द कंट्री इंक्लूडिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस ऑफ रूरल लोकल गवर्नमेंट इन नॉन पार्ट 9 एरिया. जो पार्ट 9 वाले एरियाज में नहीं है जहां पे पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन, इवन दोज आर included here. Now the scheme has two components, one is central component and the other is state component. State component is focused on capacity building of PRIs, but central component is focused on national plan of technical assistance, mission mode project on panchayat, incentivization of panchayats, those broader issues. Central component will be fully funded by center, whereas the state component may 60:40 and 90:10 in special category state would be the distribution of money. फोकस एरिया कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग आपको समझा दिया है. आउटकम्स, व्हाट हैज द स्कीम बीन एबल टू अचीव? तो अराउंड 31 लाख इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैव बीन कैपेसिटेटेड, हैव बीन प्रोवाइडेड विद ट्रेनिंग. अदर देन दैट, फंक्शनरीज and other stakeholders of panchayats have also been trained over the years. Now the scheme has been revamped. स्कीम पहले लॉन्च हुआ था 2000 का, when was the original scheme launched? It was approved in 2018 and was supposed to be launched from FY19 to FY21. So FY19 includes 2018-19 to 2021-22. This was the original implementation plan. Now a revamped version of it. The scheme has been revamped and approved in April 2022. April 2022 मतलब FY23. FY23 से FY26 में revamped version of the scheme is being implemented, where it has many components. One of the focus of the scheme of revamped RGSA is on reimagining PRIs as a vibrant center of local self-governance and special focus on SDGs. Sustainable Development Goals. अब आप रूरल एरिया में जब आप जा रहे हो, they are saying कि the achievement of SDGs should become very localized. Even at Panchayati Raj institutions level, they should focus on how poverty reduction would happen, how women empowerment would happen, and thus they are saying that there is a special focus on localization of SDGs, which they are calling as LSDGs. So revamped Swaraj Yojana जो है उसमें they are focusing on this aspect. At the grassroots level, adopting thematic approach through concerted and collaborative efforts of central ministries and state level departments. The scheme has been formulated with the aim to strengthen the capacities of the institution for local governance to become more responsive towards local development needs, prepare participatory plans leveraging technology, and efficiently utilize available resources for realizing सस्टेनेबल सोल्यूशन. तो अगेन ये सारी चीजें तो जनरल लॉजिकल है, हमें जब एग्जाम में प्रीलिम्स के एग्जाम में स्टेटमेंट्स में देखेंगे हम बोलेंगे यस इट शुड बी हैपनिंग, बट ओवरऑल डिड वी अंडरस्टैंड राजीव गांधी ग्राम स्वराज योजना? देन देयर इज, सॉरी क्या बोल रहा हूं मैं, राष्ट्रीय ग्राम राजीव गांधी का आरजी राष्ट्रीय ग्राम स्वराज स्वामित्व, सर्वे ऑफ विलेजेस एंड मैपिंग इन विलेज एरिया. व्हाट इज दिस? देखो अंडर स्वामित्व, स्वामित्व ऐसा लग रहा है ना स्वामी से वर्ड आ रहा है. अंडर स्वामित्व व्हाट इज बीइंग डन इज रूरल एरियाज को सर्वे किया जा रहा है, ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी एंड यूजिंग ऑल दोस थिंग्स, एंड देन योर हाउसहोल्ड, यू हैव अ हाउसहोल्ड यूनिट इन रूरल एरिया, you are being provided with certificates and documents to show that you are owning that. The idea is कि एक तो it will give me self confidence, this is my house. Rural area में suppose in my village my family has been living for hundreds of years. अब hundreds of years back documentation system was not that strong, so we may not have any document to prove कि that is our land, that is our home. तो अब जब वो नहीं है तो आई कैन नॉट गो टू लेट्स से बैंक एंड से दीज आर द पेपर्स ऑफ माय होम, गिव मी लोन ऑन इट्स कोलेटरल, राइट? तो उसका कमर्शियल यूज भी नहीं कर सकता मैं. व्हेन यू हैव अ होम इन दिल्ली, यू हैव अ पेपर प्रूविंग दैट यू ओन दैट प्रॉपर्टी, यू कैन गो एंड गेट लोन्स ऑन दैट बिहाफ. बट इन द रूरल एरिया वेयर यू डू नॉट हैव दोज ओनरशिप डॉक्यूमेंट्स, you may face issues. Then in future there may be someone else may claim ownership over that land. Someone else may say कि आपके दादाजी ने तो मुझे बेच दिया था, and then disputes occur. तो स्वामित्व का आइडिया क्या है? People should be provided with documents so that they can have confidence, they can get this thing, loans etc. very easily, plus reduce disputes in future. This is the idea of स्वामित्व. तो स्वामित्व भी आप देखेंगे इट्स अ सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पंचायती राज which aims to provide record of rights to village household owners possessing house in inhabited rural areas in the village. Under the scheme, using drone technology, land parcels in rural areas are being surveyed. Beneficiaries will get property cards of the house and thus will have a right, a legal document of owning that house. Pilot phase was started in FY21. Later, on 24th April 2021, the scheme was launched nationally. So it is now being implemented nationally in between 2021 and 2025. Eventually, the whole country would be covered. Please note, it is not being implemented in Delhi because Delhi mein there is no region where Panchayati Raj institution which is regarded as rural area. हर किसी को municipality वाले system में ला दिया गया है. So there we have different mechanisms. As of 31st December, 2.14 lakh villages have been surveyed and over 1 crore property cards have been prepared for nearly 65,000 villages. So it is progressing in a right manner. उसके advantages क्या हैं? ये I've roughly explained you. जैसे sense of confidence to people, reducing property related dispute, facilitating comprehensive village level planning. हाँ, ये भी important है. Like when you have digital, when Panchayati Raj institution would also have how many homes do I have, how big it is. So planning future development initiatives could all be made more effective. Better idea would be there. Creation of survey infrastructure and GIS maps that can be leveraged by any department for their use in future. Support better quality Gram Panchayat development plan by making use of GIS maps. These are other advantages that we may able to get from this initiative. Okay, so rural areas के लिए राष्ट्रीय ग्राम स्वराज योजना and स्वामित्व. These are two initiatives. Both the initiatives are of Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Saturated in the states of Haryana, Uttarakhand, Goa and UT of Lakshadweep, Andaman, Delhi, Puducherry, Dadar, Nagar Haveली, and Diu. अभी SI को बात तो करनी पड़ेगी उनसे. हाँ, yes, you're right. That's a genuine doubt. If it's not being implemented in Delhi, then how come Delhi में saturation has been achieved? I'll have to look into it. एक सेकंड दे दीजिए, मैं नोट भी करता हूँ. नोट दिल्ली स्वामित्व ना, स्वामित्व status. I'll in tomorrow's class I'll update this. Okay, sir, कल टेस्ट कितने बजे? टेस्ट is at 2 PM, है ना? I actually wanted test to happen in the morning in the exam time, 9:30 to 11:30, but then it would have wasted your time because you have to come in the evening for class. So what I want कि 2 से 4 के बीच में आप टेस्ट कर लो, कोई बच्चा थोड़ा लेट बैठ जाएंगे, and then after that we can continue with our class. And that is why in future जब मई में टेस्ट होंगे, when we'll not have any classes, we'll only have tests, I'll ensure that test is at the time of preliminary examination, 9:30 to 11:30, और संडे को ही हो, so that you get that feel with no AC. नहीं, AC would be there. देखो, what happened in my last few attempts ना, मेरा मन नहीं होता था एग्जाम देने का, तो मैं सबसे आखिरी में जाके भरता था, एंड आई नेवर गॉट दिल्ली. तो मेरे लास्ट 2 अटेम्प्ट्स में आई वेंट टू गुड़गांव फॉर एग्जाम. एक बार तो गुड़गांव में भी ना वो मानेसर टाइप का एरिया ना उधर, वहाँ पे, एंड इन बोथ द टाइम्स व्हेन आई हैड टू गो देयर आई गेट एयर कंडीशनड स्कूल्स. अभी लास्ट टाइम जब मैं गया था प्री देने, तो आई गॉट अ स्कूल समवेयर गुड़गांव को भी क्रॉस करके, मतलब इट वाज इन गुड़गांव, डिस्ट्रिक्ट गुड़गांव, बट क्रॉस करके इट वाज इन वेरी रिमोट सा प्लेस, बट इट वाज अ वेरी लाइक हाई क्लास स्कूल वेयर दे हैड मिनरल वाटर बॉटल. दे वो छोटे छोटे मिनरल वाटर बॉटल्स होते हैं ना, दे हैड दैट, एंड दे हैड केप्ट अ बिग सेट ऑफ ब्लैक पेन्स. किसी के पास पेन नहीं होगा तो दे वुड गिव पेन. उनका यार सही है पर ऐसा मत करना, ट्रैवलिंग टू दोस प्लेसेस इज डिफिकल्ट, है ना. मेरा तो मन नहीं होता था, चलो एक दिन छुट्टी मनानी चाहिए. अब इन माय लास्ट 2 अटेम्प्ट आई डिड नॉट गो टू राइट मेंस, 10 दिन नहीं है मेरे पास, इतना सारा काम है ऑफिस में, तो प्री के लिए चले जाते थे वो करने. तो अगर आपको एसी चाहिए तो थोड़ा लेट भरो, पर उस दिन थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम होगी. जैसे आई रिमेंबर एक बार हुआ था कि सुबह मेरे कैब वाले ने कैब कैंसिल कर दी जो बुक करी थी, तो वी हैड टू गो बाय मेट्रो टिल गुड़गांव, फिर गुड़गांव से ऑटो लेके, तो इट गेट्स वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग, है ना. तो यू गेट एसी, यू मे गेट एसी ऑल्सो इफ यू आर लकी. Nayan is asking, sir, is it limited only to household ownership or agri land rights? It is for now limited to household ownership. Swamit is for now limited to household ownership. Now let's talk about social sector expenditure. Government, the money that it is spending on health, education, those kind of initiatives, how much are they spending, how this variation has happened. तो देखो here we are talking about general government. General government means center and state combined together. We had already discussed this while talking about debt and all, कि सेंटर का कितना डेट है, स्टेट का कितना डेट है, एंड जनरल गवर्नमेंट का कितना डेट है, फिस्कल डेफिसिट एंड ऑल. देयर वी हैड अंडरस्टूड दिस मीनिंग ऑफ जनरल गवर्नमेंट. तो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट दिस सोशल सेक्टर में एक्सपेंडिचर. तो जो ये ब्लू बार आपको दिख रहा है ना, दिस इज टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर इन दैट फाइनेंशियल ईयर, एंड उसके नीचे दिस इज सोशल सेक्टर एक्सपेंडिचर. तो व्हाट यू सी इज सोशल सेक्टर एक्सपेंडिचर हैज बीन गोइंग अप. टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर भी बढ़ रहा है गवर्नमेंट का. इवन इन द कोविड ईयर government had fiscal deficit, huge fiscal deficit, but it borrowed a lot of money and it spent a lot of money. So spending, total expenditure bhi and social sector expenditure bhi had increased. First, are we understanding this component? देखिए, total expenditure in lakhs and expenditure in social service in lakh crores. Both of them 11.4 lakh crore, 12.8 lakh crore, which in this financial year was 21.3 lakh crore social sector expenditure. Okay, now expenditure on social services as a percentage of GDP. Even as a percentage of GDP, you will see social service mein expenditure has been going up. 6.7% of the GDP, 6.8, 6.8, 7.5, 8.2 and 8.3. As a percentage of GDP also, is it going up? Yes, it's going up. Then expenditure on social service as a percentage of total expenditure. Total expenditure ka percentage. And here there have been some variation. In 2020-21, the COVID year, it slightly came down. Otherwise, here also 25.4 to 25.2, it slightly came down. So as a percentage of total expenditure, expenditure on services is not uniformly going up, but in other situations, in terms of absolute number, in terms of as a percentage to expenditure on as a percentage of GDP, it has been going up. अब now you'll understand this कि यहाँ पे GDP बहुत नीचे गिर गया था हमारा. So even if social expenditure went down as a percentage of GDP, it remained higher only when compared to previous year. Okay, ध्यान से notice करो इसको. I've made a question on this tomorrow. बना लूंगा, नहीं बनाया तो. चलो, आई प्रॉमिस यू आई विल गिव यू अ क्वेश्चन ऑन दिस टॉपिक. ठीक है, पेपर लीक कर रहा हूँ आजकल, बहुत पेपर लीक का बवाल चल रहा है. और फिर भी किसी ने गलत किया ना, अभी समझ लो सब. हाँ, गोइंग अप. देखो क्या है ना, जनरल व्हेन वी से दैट द ट्रेंड इज जनरली गोइंग अप, इट मींस ये तो उतना ही रह रहा है या हर बार बढ़ रहा है. नहीं, इवन देन इट वुड बी फाइन. अगर हम बोल रहे हैं ना, इट इज स्टेडली इंक्रीजिंग एंड इन वन ऑफ द सिचुएशन इट रिमेन्स द सेम, दैट इज फाइन. उसे भी हम स्टेडी इंक्रीज वाले पैटर्न में फिट मानेंगे. एंड ये दिस इज अनदर टेबल वेयर यू हैव एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन एजुकेशन, हेल्थ एंड सो ऑन, है ना. विल नॉट गो इनटू दिस डिटेल, बट आई होप यू हैव क्लैरिटी ऑन गवर्नमेंट का सोशल सेक्टर एक्सपेंडिचर, हाउ इट इज वेरिंग. इट जनरली गोइंग अप, बट as a percentage of GDP भी it has, so as a percentage of total expenditure it went down slightly in the COVID year. Now you may ask कि सर COVID year में तो health पे ज़्यादा expense हुआ ना, why did it go down? It shows कि इतना ज़्यादा expenditure नहीं हुआ जितना होना चाहिए. There was a lot of spending going on in infrastructure and all. Health पे जितना होना चाहिए था उतना नहीं. Let's come back to social sector में. we are talking about various situations, like what is the situation of humans in India, so or human development in India. Human development, we talk about human development, we talk about humans education, health, income, है ना. कितने लोग पॉवर्टी के नीचे रह रहे हैं, कितने लोग पॉवर्टी के ऊपर रह रहे हैं, what is per capita income. And in fact, UNDP's Human Development Report also considers these three parameters. What three parameters? Health, education, and income, per capita income. In last 32 years, जब से UNDP had started giving its human development report. For the first time, globally, there has been a decline in human development because of COVID-19 lockdown. In 90% of the country, यहाँ पे कहीं लिखा होगा, देखिए, as per UNDP, 90% of the countries have registered a reduction in their HDI value either in 2020 or in 2021. This has happened for the first time. तो COVID का impact देखिए. Now, India's Human Development Index, वही United Nation Development Program UNDP publishes Human Development Report, उसमें एक index आता है Human Development Index. In this report, with this report comes Human Development Index, where countries are ranked in terms of their human development. India was ranked 132 out of 191 countries in the 2021-22 HDI report. तो जब लास्ट रिपोर्ट आया है उसमें इंडिया का रैंक इज 132. India's HDI value of 0.633 was of 0.633 in 2021, and this places India in the medium human development category. This value was better. Our human development situation was better in 2019, so it has worsened. Our rank was also better in 2019-2020. It has also worsened. But यहाँ पे you can see कि countries who are doing best, SDI 2021 जो latest index है उसमें Switzerland, Norway, these are the countries which are doing the best. India is placed at 132. Okay, when it comes to gender inequality index, इस human development report का ही एक component, जैसे human development index है वैसे ही they also publish gender inequality index. Gender inequality index कैसे measure करते हैं? Human development for males, human development for females. What is the gap? Now, in a country where human development is good, there also their ranking in gender inequality may be bad. If there is a lot of variation between males and females, human development. Are we understanding this? So, in gender inequality index, our score is 0.490 and we are ranked 122. Overall development mein we are ranked 132, but in gender inequality index we are ranked 132. The score is better than that of South Asian region. अब देखो, too much psychophancy. मतलब यहाँ पे भी दिखा रहे हैं कि हाँ, this score is better than Afghanistan, Pakistan, our neighborhood come. It should be able to say ना कि अभी inequality is there, we need to work on it. They're not saying in the entire economic survey of India, their language is not that. The score is better than that of South Asian region and close to the world average of 0.465. So our score is 0.490, world average is 0.465. देखो, gender inequality index में the lesser your score is, better it is. है ना? Inequality index में आपका score कम होगा मतलब inequality कम है. So world average is 0.465, our score is 0.490. But now look at the language. While talking about our comparison with South Asia, we said that we are better than South Asia. Whereas look at the variation, 0.49, 0.50. But when we are talking about world average is, यहाँ पे gap ज़्यादा है, but यहाँ पे what is the language? And we are very close to the world average. Here they did not say we are very close to South Asia. We are better than them. इसीलिए वो एनालिसिस वाला पार्ट नहीं हो रहा है. We are not getting into analysis. We are only talking about what is given in Economic Survey of India. ये समझ में आ रही है बात? Okay. तो Human Development Report, Human Development Index, who's publishing it? Are we clear about it? What has happened to India's ranking? इसमें Gender Inequality Index, who publishes it? What is the situation of India? वो देखो, Gender Inequality Index पे सवाल आ सकता है या Gender Gap Report. Gender Gap Report is published by World Economic Forum. Gender Inequality Index is by UNDP, that is by World Economic Forum. पढ़ेंगे अभी हम international bodies में, we will study all these things. Please do not worry. Now, another important topic that we want to study is multi-dimensional poverty index, or UNDP's multi-dimensional poverty index. So देखो, when we measure poverty, one way of measuring poverty is this, कि what is your per capita income. UN का, World Bank का एक mechanism है, it says that अगर in if in 2000 if in 2011's number your income is $1.9 a day, $1.9 per day, उसको थोड़ा इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स करना पड़ेगा टू कम टू टुडेस नंबर, लाइक 2011 से अब तक के आज के नंबर मैंने थोड़ा सा इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स करना पड़ेगा, देन यू आर लिविंग अबव पॉवर्टी लाइन. दिस इज द ट्रेडिशनल मैकेनिज्म जहां पे वेर वी ओनली कंसिडर इनकम टू मेजर पॉवर्टी. बट this is not a complete mechanism. Think of this. There's a country where income, per capita income of everyone in the village is $1 only. There's another country where per capita income of every person is $2. But in this country, education is freely available, health facilities are good and government facilities are freely available, right? Taxes are less, road tax etc. doesn't have to be paid, LPG cylinders are available, whereas here it's not happening. Here schooling is expensive, health is expensive, the quality of food that is available is bad. In spite of higher income, more people will be facing various deprivation here rather than here, and therefore this fact has been recognized globally, and to measure poverty, multi-dimensional poverty index, rather than having only one dimension, income itna hai, multi-dimensional poverty index are being developed. Alag-alag organizations have developed multi-dimensional poverty index. The one that we are discussing, the one Economic Survey of India has discussed this, United Nations Development Programs, UNDP's multi-dimensional poverty index. What have they done is, to measure poverty, multi-dimensional poverty, what they've done is, they've said ki, here we'll consider three things: health, education and per capita income, और इनको भी ना, and all in this index all of them have been given equal weight. इसको weight 1/3 दिया है, इसको weight 1/3 दिया है, इसको weight 1/3 दिया है. Then it has further been divided into two parameters. It has been divided into two parameters. It has also been divided into not two, multiple parameters, 6 parameters. So total 10 dimensions हो जाते हैं. So here 1/3 is being divided into 2, so 1/6, 1/6. Here 1/3 divided into 2, 1/6, 1/6. Here 1/3 divided into 6, so 118, 118, 118. And based on this, poverty level is calculated. Based on this, poverty levels are calculated. Let's come to this. क्या बोल रहे हैं ये? UNDP's multi-dimensional poverty index. Multi-dimensional poverty measures are hence used to create a more comprehensive picture. It reveals who's poor and how they are poor, and the range of different deprivations experienced by them. Here, because there are 10 dimensions, you will be able to identify the number of deprivations which people are facing. Okay, one such measure is UNDP ka measure, which it is doing for 100 countries. The methodology involves measuring each person's overlapping deprivations across 10 indicators, which are divided equally between health, education and standard of living. अच्छा, वो per capita income नहीं, standard of living है. Standard of living में per capita income एक component होता है. I'm sorry. Health, education and standard of living. Please उसे correct करेंगे. The health and education dimension are based on 2 indicators each. तो यहाँ पे हमने जो देखा था, ये per capita standard of living. Standard of living basically was measured using per capita income earlier. Standard of living. So health and education dimensions are further divided into 2 subcomponents, and standard of living is divided into 6 subcomponents, and thus we have total 10 subcomponents of this. MPI ranges from 0 to 1. If your score is towards 0, poverty level कम है, and higher values imply higher multidimensional poverty, and if your score is towards 1, your poverty level is very high. Okay, now this method, this multidimensional poverty index, is complementing the international $1.9 a day poverty line, which has been identified by World Bank. Why is it complementing it? Because that was only measuring one form of poverty, so it was not complete in itself. this in a way is complementing. You can either measure it by that mechanism, but you should also measure it by this mechanism to get clearer picture, to get better picture. Now, what is the situation of India? The 2022 report of UNDP on MPI was released in October 2022. What is it saying? 16.4% of India's population, or around 22 crore people, are multidimensionally poor. आप percentage of population देखोगे, as per multidimensional poverty index, we have been able to bring a lot of people out of poverty. In 2005-6, 55% of India's population was living in poverty, which in 2015-16 was almost halved, 27.7. In 2019-21, in this period, again, it has come down. In terms of absolute numbers also, though our population has gone up, in terms of absolute numbers also, people living in poverty as measured by multidimensional poverty index have gone down. A good thing? Okay. But if we had measured it using the older mechanism, this number is much higher. If सिर्फ हम poverty वाला measure के हिसाब से देखेंगे ना, per capita income वाले measure से, this number will be much higher. But ऐसे सोचो कि इंडिया में under National Food Security Act you get food at a very low prices. So even if your income is slightly lower, your government schools, government hospitals all are free. You know, even now with Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, even the secondary and tertiary treatment is free. So even if income in hand is lesser, your standard of life can be much better, your health situation, your education situation can be much better. Now the intensity of deprivation. How is intensity of deprivation measured? Intensity of deprivation, which is the average deprivation score among people living in multidimensional poverty, is 42% in India. Now what is meant by this? देखो हम बोल रहे हैं कि multidimensionally poor हैं लोग, कितने लोग multidimensionally poor हैं? 16.4% or 23. Now when we are talking about they are poor, multidimensionally poor, not in every parameter they are poor. They are saying that in general, in 42% of the parameters they are. Did you understand this? नहीं, समझ में नहीं आया. देखो, there are 10 parameters. So we say that this person is poor. तो ये कुछ parameters में poor होगा. We say this person is also poor. This person would be poor in these parameters. So on an average, जो intensity of deprivation है, that is 42% in India. Deprivation is 42% in India. Did we understand this now? Okay. MPI value. MPI value कैसे measure होगा? See, 16.4% of India's population is poor. 16.4% is poor, and not all of them are completely deprived. Deprivation is 42% or 0.42. So 16.4% into 0.42 will give you 0.06. This is deprivation. So MP, which is share of population that is multidimensionally poor, which is 0.069. तो 1 में से 0.069, roughly 6%. Did we understand this? अच्छा, यहाँ पे ना आपने ये 16.4 नहीं, इसे भी क्या लेंगे हम? 0.16 है ना, into 0.42 will give you this number. Are we getting this? पक्का? So this is our MPI value. MPI value less, higher MPI value would mean ज़्यादा poverty है, lower MPI value would mean less poverty है. Let's say India में 100% people were living with poverty. 100% people were living with poverty and पूरे 10 के 10 पैरामीटर्स में poverty था. तो intensity would also be 100%, 100, 100. तो यहाँ पे हम क्या बोल देंगे? यहाँ पे हम बोल देंगे 1 into 1. Our MPI value would be 1. That is the highest value. Highest value in the sense poverty at the highest level. Lower value poverty at the lower level. Are we getting this? Okay. Now एक स्टूडेंट ने सवाल पूछा है कि सर इनिशियली इट वाज रिटन दैट मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स इज बीइंग मेजर्ड फॉर 100 डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज, बट लेटर यू आर सेइंग कि 2022 की रिपोर्ट में 111 डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज वर, राइट? क्या सही है? In 2022 this number may have gone up, but the point is why could I not have used 111 वाला नंबर? अब मेरे लिए ना अभी टाइम नहीं है कि मैं इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया की गलतियां ठीक करूं। हाँ हाँ ठीक है, वो बात भी सही है, राइट? आर वी गेटिंग दिस? चलो, तो डू वी हैव क्लैरिटी ऑन दिस? ओके, नाउ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम। क्या हुआ? डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया? ऑनलाइन तो जा रहा है। अच्छा, नहीं डिस्कनेक्ट। अच्छा, तुम लोग कंट्रोल कर रहे हो बाहर से बैठ के, सही है। हाँ, लेट्स कम बैक टू दिस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम। वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट सोशल सेक्टर में पॉवर्टी, हेल्थ, एजुकेशन, दीज आर द डायमेंशंस दैट वी हैव टू कवर। हेल्थ वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन, आई गेस, है ना? एजुकेशन और ये पॉवर्टी रिलेटेड थिंग्स वी आर डूइंग राइट नाउ। ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम, तो this program is focused on those districts which on various parameters have remained very backward in India. India में around 700 districts हैं, उसमें से नीति आयोग identified 117 districts, and it said if we focus on improvement in various social sectors parameters in these districts, India's average would drastically go up, because these are particularly backward districts. So Niti Aayog identified 117 most backward districts from 28 states and union territories, at least one from each state, in a transparent manner using a composite index. So why do we need to develop these districts? One, for inclusive growth. If the country is growing, everyone should be able to grow with it. Improve overall national performance. Because of these districts, the overall parameters for the nation used to become worse, and internal security related aspects are also there. In the absence of good situation in these districts, the people with extreme ideologies would be able to influence people more easily. Poverty वाले situation में left wing extremism, terrorism बढ़ने के chances ज़्यादा होते हैं, right? Now these are the 6 main themes on which the program focus: health and nutrition, education, agriculture and water resource, financial inclusion, skill development and basic infrastructure. इसके basis पे the districts have been identified, the most poor districts have been identified. Now what is done in this program to make the situation of these districts, 117 districts, improve? What is being done? These are the 3 C's which are the focus area: convergence, collaboration and competition. What is convergence? There are a number of state schemes and central schemes which are being run, be it for poverty reduction, be it for educational improvement, be it for better health situation, right? उन सबको एक साथ कन्वर्ट करके स्ट्रीमलाइन तरीके से it's being implemented in these aspirational districts. Convergence, and for this collaboration of central, state, district level officers is needed. And finally, there's a competition also. These aspirational districts are also being ranked in terms of their improvement, not in terms of their total overall status, but how much they are improving. So through this competition also, the local administration, the government is being encouraged to improve the situation of these districts. Under this program, Niti Aayog releases Delta ranking. Delta का मतलब होता है change. Delta ranking that ranks district based on monthly improvement achieved in the 6 focus areas. We already looked at the focus areas. This Delta ranking is provided on the program's champion of the change dashboard. So aspirational district program में there's a champion of the change dashboard there. You can go and see this ranking. There are other key strategies. States still remain the driver of the scheme in that particular district. The program is driven by mass movement. The people's participation is made an integral component of the program. Focus is on low hanging fruits. Low hanging fruits means every district have certain advantages. We should first prioritize those advantages, because bringing changes there on that front would be easy. And once change is brought in one particular front, it's easy to, जैसे एजुकेशन अगर इंप्रूव हो जाता है तो बाकी चीजें इंप्रूव करना अच्छा होता है. हेल्थ एक बार अच्छा करना आसान है तो लेट्स डू इट, एंड फोकसिंग ऑन अदर एस्पेक्ट्स बिकम easy. So we are focusing in every district. There may be different low hanging fruits. Priority is to focus on them. Availability of real data, real time data is another key component to promote transparency and better monitoring. And even private players are being asked to contribute here through various public private partnership. For example, in 2018 Niti Aayog signed a statement of interest with Piramal Foundation, which will work with government authorities to improve identified indicators by strengthening the existing public systems, especially in health, education and nutritional sector. So Piramal Foundation signing an agreement with Niti Aayog ki bhai we will be contributing in these parameters. So private players are also being made to participate in this way. So these are some other aspects, but the 3 C's, आप जब आंसर लिखोगे, especially in mains examination, when you will talk about aspirational district program, the examiner should see the 3 C's. What 3 C's? Convergence, collaboration and competition. Convergence, collaboration and competition should be like clearly visible to the examiner. Okay. Now यहाँ पे कुछ वो भी है, what is the institutional framework of the aspirational district. तो Niti Aayog is anchoring the program. Then officers at the level of joint secretary, additional secretary have been nominated to become central Prabhari officers of each district. States have also appointed state nodal and Prabhari officers. तो इस तरह से all these people have been made responsible for better implementation of the program. यहाँ पे again economic survey of India says, not only economic survey of India, various international studies have also shown कि, because अगर सिर्फ economic survey of India बोल रहा होता तो आप ignore कर देते, various international studies have also shown that the aspirational districts have done better. कई जगह तो ऐसा हुआ है कि aspirational districts have started doing on various parameters, have started doing better than the average of the state. Now not all districts in the state were aspirational district. Aspirational districts सबसे खराब हालत वाले districts थे, they have started doing better on various fronts. कहीं पे वो state average से अच्छा कर रहे हैं, कहीं पे वो national average से भी they are doing better. In fact, जैसे आप देखेंगे ADs, aspirational districts have performed better than non-aspirational district in financial inclusion. In terms of bank account, insurance, mudra loans, they've started doing well. So it shows that जो ये aspirational district program है, or this model where we identify the weakest groups and focus on them, is impactful, is have advantages, because identifying weaker groups, weaker regions, weaker areas and focusing on them can actually have quick results. You remember वो वाला in economy we say that capital to growth ratio. तो capital कम लगाने पे भी when an area is not very developed, when a region is not very developed, the outcome can be very high. Capital to output ratio है ना, तो अगर थोड़ा सा चेंज ऐड करोगे तो कितना ग्रोथ होगा. तो इन दीज डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स अगर फोकस तरीके से वी स्टार्ट bringing changes, the impact could be very good. Are we understanding this? Are we getting it? This was aspirational district program which is being anchored by Niti Aayog. Then based on the learning from aspirational district program, recently Mission Utkarsh and aspirational block programs have also been launched. What is the learning? Learning is कि जो यार weaker groups हैं, weaker areas है ना, make special focus on them and they would improve. This is the learning. This is the model of aspirational district program. So what is Utkarsh? Mission Utkarsh, which has been launched in January 2022. In Mission Utkarsh, ministries have been given this responsibility. You identify a few districts where in terms of your work situation is bad. For example, let's say Ministry of Communication होगा या Ministry of Information Technology होगा. Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is a ministry in India. It would identify 15 districts where telephone towers, mobile connection, all is poor. and then this ministry would focus on those 15 districts to improve their situation. तो ऐसे ही हर मिनिस्ट्री कुछ डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे अपने लेवल पे एंड दे विल फोकस ऑन दोज डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स टू इंप्रूव देयर सिचुएशन. इट्स समथिंग सिमिलर टू व्हाट वाज बीइंग डन इन एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम. हियर हम सब ने मिलके weakest most 117 districts identify किए. Here every ministry in terms of the services which they provide are identifying districts. Are we getting it? Are we understanding Mission Utkarsh? Mission Utkarsh समझ में आया? Then there is, अच्छा, what is the target? Mission Utkarsh का target देखो. The ADP following the ADP template, ministries have launched actions to bring these districts at par with an average district in the state in 1 year. The target is that within 1 year, these districts which ministry is identifying, it should be brought at par with the average situation of the state, and within 2 years at par with the average situation in the country. Now are we getting Utkarsh and what its targets are? Then we have aspirational block program. तो एस्पिरेशनल ब्लॉक्स प्रोग्राम तो इज वेरी सिमिलर टू एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट. एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हमने पूरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट चूज किया था. देयर आर 700 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स इन द कंट्री, उसमें से वी चोज 117 डिस्ट्रिक्ट. इन एस्पिरेशनल ब्लॉक प्रोग्राम्स फर्दर, मतलब डिस्ट्रिक्ट में से भी यू आर गोइंग टू ए ब्लॉक्स व्हिच आर इन अ मच पुअरर कंडीशन. तो द प्रोग्राम वाज लॉन्च्ड इन जनवरी 2023 एंड इज एम्ड एट इंप्रूविंग द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ ब्लॉक्स लैगिंग ऑन वेरियस डेवलपमेंट पैरामीटर्स. So abhi, like less than a month back, this program was launched. There was a national conference of chief secretaries which was held between January 5 and January 7, less than around a month back, and there this aspirational block program was launched. Central government and states have come together to use the ADP template to identify backward blocks and use similar data monitoring and competition based programs to improve the most underdeveloped blocks in the country. तो वही क्या, convergence, collaboration and competition, those mechanisms would be used to better implement situation there. In order to further strengthen the initiative, 500 most backward blocks across the states and UTs have been identified for rapid development under aspirational block program. So aspirational district, are we clear about it? The aspirational district से we have come to Mission Utkarsh. मिशन उत्कर्ष में one ministry is identifying 10-15 districts. तो ऐसे 10-15 different ministries would identify 10-15 different districts. ऐसा होता है, the same district has been identified by this ministry also and this ministry also. Because their area of work is different, they will focus on different things. ज़्यादा नहीं, कई जगह मैं चीजें ऐड कर दे रहा हूँ फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग पर्पस. नहीं Jan 7 वाला तो है, मतलब हो सकता है. सर्वे में जनवरी 20 तक का है चीजें. नहीं जनवरी 20 तक का उन्होंने अपडेट दिया एज ऑफ जनवरी 22. किसी चीज में नवंबर, हाँ सर्वे, तभी तो सर्वे करना इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके, देर आर प्लेसेस वेयर आई एम एडिंग थिंग्स, नॉट अपडेट वाला पोर्शन, बट कई बार डिटेल्स बहुत कम दी हैं, हमें अंडरस्टैंडिंग ज्यादा चाहिए, तो आई हैव एडेड सर्टेन थिंग्स. ओके, let's go to labor reforms. जैसे यहाँ पे they had not talked about any of the labor reforms or any of the codes. I have added codes myself. ये codes मैं पहले पढ़ा भी चुका हूँ, तो I'll not cover it in details, but I just wanted it to be there so that for those of you who haven't studied it in the past, they would quickly go through it, they would quickly be able to revise it. Labor reforms. Now to understand the need of labor reforms, we have to understand the situation before labor reform. So situation before labor reform is this, कि anyone who wants to start a business in India, there are too many labor laws to deal with. सेंटर के लेवल पे there were 40+ labor laws, स्टेट के लेवल पे there are thousands of labor laws, अलग अलग स्टेट में there are different laws, and fulfilling all those laws becomes very difficult. Because of this, what is happening is institutions are trying to not hire people on full-time basis because their number of employees would go up. and then they'll have to follow all those regulations, which is complicated, which is difficult to follow. And thus, labor laws are supposed to protect laborers, but it is harming laborers. At the same time, labor laws are also hampering ease of doing business for the business people, for the industries. So it is one of the factors because of which ease of doing business in India was poor. So one of the major reforms that has happened recently is जो सेंट्रल लेवल के लॉज थे उनको कोडिफाई किया गया. देयर वर 40 प्लस लॉज, उनमें से 29 लॉज हैव बीन कोडिफाइड इनटू 4 codes. Those 4 codes are Code on Wages, which was passed in Parliament in August 2019, and there were 3 other codes जो कि September 2020 में पास हुए. Code of Wages, Code on Social Security 2020, this Code on Industrial Relation 2020, and Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code. These codes focus upon aggregating a large number of laws which were there earlier, उन सबको एक साथ लेके एक ही कोड बना रहे हैं. Further, they are also ensuring that the older system, obsolete system, is done away with, and we come to newer mechanisms, newer methods. For example, इन सबको आप पढ़ेंगे खुद से. Let me take one of the codes, the wage code, and understand what changes have they done. It universalizes minimum wage for all employees in both organized and unorganized sector. तो पहले एक minimum wage act था, ऐसे there were a number of laws. It has brought all of them and all those things under this, and it says that everyone in the country, whether you are working in organized sector, whether you are working in unorganized sector, you are supposed to get minimum wage. आप ऐसे नहीं बोल पाओगे कि वो तो अपने गांव में ही खेतों में काम कर रहा है. No, even that person, even if it's an unorganized sector, will have to get minimum wage. So this was a problem earlier because earlier minimum wage के definitions अलग-अलग थे. Different states could have different minimum wages. So here also different states may have different minimum wage, but एक ना national minimum is something, उसके लिए एक committee बनाई गई है which will say that national minimum would be this. Beyond this, like different states may have different minimum wage, it would be beyond this. At least इतना पैसा तो मिलेगा ही. Then it also amalgamates the definition of wages across all the legislation. पहले there were many laws and the definition of wage was different in all of them. It has amalgamated all of them together. There's a provision for review of minimum wage every 5 years. Now, with inflation and everything, minimum wage has to be reviewed every 5 years. उसमें there should not be need of an amendment or there should be a clear-cut provision कि भाई it would be periodically reviewed. They have brought those changes here. इसमें there are lots of provisions, but through this example, what we are trying to say is they are trying to ensure that these laws are modern, new. These laws are not very complicated. It does not bring in unnecessary legal problems. Of wages की definition are different in different laws. In that case, when the matter goes to court, there's a lot of complication. One lawyer is saying something else, the other lawyer is saying something else. So those things have been simplified. So in recent years, a lot of these efforts have taken place. Now, still full implementation of these codes have not come into force. उसका reason है that the rules made under these codes, some of the rules would be made by central government, some by state government, and at other appropriate levels. There's a requirement for pre-publication of rules in the official gazette for public consultation. The rules should be pre-published. As of 30th December 2022, 31 states also have republished the draft rules under the Code on Wages. So अभी तक draft rules ही publish हुए हैं. People's consultation would happen, and thus, though the act was passed, one in 2019 and the other 3 in 2020, the codes were passed, 2019 and other in 2020, codes are not being fully implemented for. Are we getting this? Are we understanding this? And in the absence of this, what happens is बहुत exploitation होता है लोगों. Think of this कि दिल्ली में जो minimum wage है ना, दिल्ली में minimum wage I think is 17 or 18,000, 17 or 18,000, something like that. This is the minimum wage of वर्कर्स इन दिल्ली, आप किसी से 8 घंटे काम करवा रहे हो, आपको कम से कम अनस्किल्ड पर्सन को 17 और 18,000 देना पड़ेगा. नाउ इफ यू गो टू वेरियस शॉप्स which are around you, there would be a worker working there from perhaps 7 in the morning till 9 p.m. और उसको दिन भर में 10,000 रुपीज मिलते हैं. दिस इज द सिनेरियो. तो minimum wages are not being given, and 10,000 में surviving in Delhi is, just imagine, no matter where you are living, दिल्ली में ना एक रूम का रेंट 4-5 हजार होता है. ओआरएन का अलग केस है, 25,000 भी होता है, बट 4-5 हजार होता है. जस्ट इमेजिन you'll have to live with 4-5 people in 10,000 के income में. What will you be able to do? So Delhi has different minimum wage when compared to other places. ना बिहार में 10,000 rupees may be a good income for survival. वहाँ rent and all those things may not be this high, or in smaller towns that may not be that high. है ना, 17,000 rupees of income in rural India may be considered okay, comfortable income, but in Delhi it is the most minimum wage. तो वो अभी इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हो रहा है अच्छे से बिकॉज ऑफ अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स, कंफ्यूजन्स, बट once these things come into force and once these things get implemented, situations would improve. And as bureaucrats, it should be like you should understand कि these things are actually impacting crores of people. ये जो छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं ना, इनको आप हम अगर अच्छे से इम्पैक्ट कर पाए ना, अच्छे से इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाए, देन योर इम्पैक्ट मे बी मोर देन द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ गॉड. भगवान भी कुछ ऐसा नहीं करते हैं कि इतने करोड़ों लोगों को फायदा हो सकता है, बट द प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ द कंट्री और द होम मिनिस्टर और द फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर कैन हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ इम्पैक्ट. यू मे बिलीव इन गॉड और यू मे नॉट बिलीव इन गॉड, बट एज bureaucrats, as politicians, as ministers, you have the kind of ability कि आप इतना पुण्य कमा के जाओगे, अगर भगवान होते हैं और स्वर्ग होता है तब भी आप स्वर्ग में ही जाओगे, और नहीं होते तब भी you will die peacefully. Right? The job that you are preparing for has this kind of impact. So whenever you get demotivated or discouraged from यार कितना पढ़ना है, क्या है, ये है, वो है, just think of the kind of impact that you will be able to have. It would be huge. मतलब इतना impact ना और कोई नहीं कर सकता, just कोई और कर ही नहीं सकता. If you are a finance secretary and if you are able to guide the finance minister in a way जो करोड़ों लोगों को impact कर सकता है, फिर आप ना अगर अंबानी भी होते, अदानी भी होते, you would not have had that kind of impact. And that is why perhaps so many people prepare for this exam. So these small changes could be very crucial. Okay. इसी में in employment only, other than these codes were not given in detail in Economic Survey of India. ये मैंने अपने पुराने वाले नोट्स में से ऐड किया है. There are some other things that Economic Survey of India has talked about. इसमें भी ये चीजें भी डिटेल में नहीं थी, but I have included their details because they were mentioned there. So I have added them in detail so that because they are important for preliminary examination. जैसे e-Shram portal. e-Shram portal. What is e-Shram portal? e-Shram portal is a national database of unorganized sector workers. Unorganized sector में बहुत सारे लोग हैं इंडिया में. There was no database for them. In the absence of that, identifying them, developing schemes for them, ensuring better opportunities for them, everything was problematic. Crores of people are working in an unorganized sector. e-Shram portal is their database. Now people can go and get registered here. वहाँ पे आप अपना, you can provide your name, education, address, occupation type, educational qualification, and most importantly the skill type for the optimal realization of their employability and extent of benefits of social security schemes to them. It is the first ever national database of unorganized workers, and these you will also have migrant workers, construction workers, gig workers, platform workers, and so on. Currently, e-Shram portal has been linked with NCS portal and ASEEM portal in seamless facilities. Now, NCS portal, National Career Service portal, इसके through ना job givers and job takers are connected. Employers and potential employers and employees are connected. So, unorganized sector workers through e-Shram portal, which is being connected to NCS portal, would be able to access jobs. Similarly, ASEEM, it has also been connected to ASEEM portal. So what is ASEEM? ASEEM is about a skill development. इसमें आप you can here you if you'll come, it's a AI based digital platform to bridge the demand supply gap of skilled workforce across the sector. The portal will map details of workers based on regions and local. So here you'll add your skills. You'll provide ki I'm this person and I have these skills. Database of labor migrants in Indian states and overseas citizens who returned to India under the Vande Bharat mission and filled Swadesh skill card has also been integrated with ASEEM portal. Your skills would be provided here, and using this, the employers would be able to identify you. In fact, it's an artificial intelligence based system. The employers would be connected to with the potential people who may be able to work for them. So the original, what were we talking about? E-Shram portal. E-Shram portal has also been integrated with NCS and ASEEM. Because E-Shram maybe we have taken the skills wala detail which was needed for ASEEM. It has been integrated there. In National Career Service, the portal has been developed primarily to connect the opportunities with the aspiration of youth. Connecting the opportunities, job opportunities with the aspiration of youth. National Career Service portal is for that. Now please note, जो अपन ने ASEEM पोर्टल की बात करी, that is by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. बाकी दोनों is by Ministry of Labour and Employment. Note this thing carefully. Are we understanding it? Okay. Aadhaar. Do we know everything about Aadhaar? है ना? Aadhaar कितने डिजिट का होता है? नंबर 12 digit. UIADI is the authority responsible for it. It was originally a government constituted body, but now it has statutory backing. 2016 में जो act है, it has given its statutory backing. Now what is the advantage of unique identity और आधार? उसके क्या advantages हैं? So it has helped us in improving governance. It has plugged leakages because unique identity is there. Same person will not have two different ration cards and two different PAN cards and get two different advantages twice. Improved performance of government employees. How government employees' performance has been improved? Their Aadhaar can be linked with the biometric attendance system, and thus वो time पे आएंगे, time पे जाएंगे. One nation, one ration card. One nation, one ration card like initiatives. Have we studied this one nation, one ration card? है ना? वैसे एग्रीकल्चर वाले सेक्शन में करा होगा हमने पीडीएस वाले में, बट अगेन प्रीलिम्स में विल डू इट अगेन, डू नॉट वरी जिन्होंने नहीं किया है. बट वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड could be made possible because of Aadhaar. In the absence of Aadhaar, what would have happened? In the absence of Aadhaar, identifying someone who has moved to other state would have been difficult. Unique identity was needed here, right? Then CoWIN app mein individuals Aadhaar was playing a very important role. Okay, so it promotes cashless economy. DBT or Aadhaar enabled payment system is there. So DBT mein identification is through your Aadhaar linked bank accounts, right? Aadhaar is the foundation of India's digital integration. Improved tax compliance has been made possible because of this. Aadhaar linked GST account, Aadhaar linked bank account, Aadhaar linked PAN cards. It reduces the chances of tax erosion. Ayush is asking, sir, what about gig, contractual, informal workers? Are they included in this? हाँ, इसमें they have जैसे minimum wage वाले में जाओगे, even for them it is applicable. तो for now क्या है ना, these laws are applicable on employees who have some minimum threshold of employees. तो वो सारे provisions उन पे valid नहीं होंगे, but minimum wage वाला would be applicable for most of them. Better crime detection prevention. तो Aadhaar has enabled all those things. तो इसमें Aadhaar is more important for mains examination. Pre में बस I have tried to include certain aspects. Please go through it. Now we'll come to employment. Now to promote employment, we have already talked about E-Shram portal and all those things, right? In the same way, we have talked about skill development. In industries, we'll talk about how government is taking steps to improve ease of doing business so that more industries can come up, more manufacturing sector industries can come up, more jobs may be made available. Here our focus is on the state situation of employment in the country. As per Economic Survey of India, situation is improving every year. What is it saying? So to measure situation, employment situation can be measured in two different ways. One is supply side of the labor. Supply side of the labor, you can do household survey and see आपको job चाहिए, आप करते हो. Means you are someone who is part of labor force आपको, and you are working. So this is supply side में doing surveys and understanding what is the level of employment, what is the level of unemployment. There is one demand side of the labor also. From there also you can understand the employment situation. For example, you can go to industries, annual survey of industries में you go to industries and see how many workers are they employing. Last year कितने employ कर रहे थे, उससे पहले कितने थे. So is the employment situation improving or is the employment situation going down? So the measurement, did you understand? When we measure employment, we can either measure it from the supply side or measure it from the demand side. As per Economic Survey of India 2022-23, a broad-based improvement in the employment situation, both in the supply side and the demand side, has taken. There is improvement in the employment situation. Unemployment rates have fallen from 5.8% in 2018-19 to 4.2% in 2020-21, and there is a noticeable rise in female labor force participation rate. Female labor force participation rate from 19.7% in 2018-19 to 27.7% in 2020-21. As per Economic Survey of India, this is the scenario. Now, आपको डाउट क्या होता है? आपको लगेगा कि 2020-21 में कोविड लॉकडाउन, a lot of jobs were lost. 2020-21 was that year, and for that year they are saying that situation has improved. Unemployment has gone down. But as per Economic Survey of India, it has gone down as per various surveys. It has gone down. We'll come to that. We'll come to those surveys. So in general, there is a improvement. Do we understand this? Now, other studies are also saying something similar. Recent urban unemployment data shows progress beyond pre-pandemic levels. जो जुलाई सितंबर 2019 में अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट था 8.3%, that in July September 2022 is 7.9%. तो प्री कोविड पे जो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट था उससे भी कम अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट in urban areas is today. Similarly, EPFO payroll is also steadily moving upwards. EPFO, organized sector में when workers are there, they participate in EPFO program. So there the enrollment is going up, indicating that more people are getting organized sector jobs. Then QES data, quarterly surveys होते हैं, there also there is an improvement in the overall number of people who are employed. Annual survey of industries maybe same is the case. So we will study about QES, annual survey of industries, in more detail in some times. But before that, let us understand first this thing, these terms. Labor force participation rate क्या होता है, worker population ratio क्या है, unemployment rate क्या है. When we say unemployment of 7%, does it mean that 7% in the country are not working? No. It means that people who are willing to work, उनमें से 7% are not working. So let us understand labor force participation rate. What is meant by labor force participation rate? So labor force participation rate means percentage of the working population engaged in work or making tangible efforts to seek work or being available for work if it is available. Now please understand, labor force participation rate in a way is all those people who are either working or are willing to. The total population जो काम करना चाहती है. For example, if you come to 2021-22, you will see that labor force participation rate is 57.5% of the total population of the country. 57.5% of the population is the one which is wanting to work, which is willing to work, which is seeking work, which is actively seeking work, or is already working. That is labor force participation rate. Did we understand this? Did we understand labor force participation rate? हाँ, जो working age group है. Yes. Did we understand this? Second, working population ratio. Working population ratio is इनमें से कितने परसेंट of the total population कितने percentage काम कर रहे हैं. So see, this was the people who were willing to work. This is the people who are working. Unemployment rate would be the difference between them, right? So people who were willing to work is this. people who are working is this, right? So how many people are not working, who are willing to work but are not working? 57.5 minus 54.9 है ना, which is 2.4, 15 में से 9 गया 6, हाँ 2.6, राइट। अब 2.6 को आप परसेंटेज निकालना है तो 2.6 को आप डिवाइड करोगे 57.5 से, यू विल गेट 4.5। दिस इज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट, दिस इज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट। अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट कैसे आप कैलकुलेट करोगे? पीपल हु आर ऑल विलिंग टू वर्क, वो सब उनमें से कितने वर्क नहीं कर रहे हैं, दैट इज। अब एक 2 साल का बच्चा काम नहीं कर रहा है, दैट इज नॉट अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट ना, दैट इज नॉट अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट। डिड वी अंडरस्टैंड दिस? डिड वी अंडरस्टैंड दीस टर्म्स? तो let's come back again to this. According to PLFS, Periodic Labor Force Survey, labor force participation rate is the percentage of working population engaged in work or making tangible efforts to seek work or being available for work if it's available. ये समझ में आया? First. Second, working population ratio is percentage of employed population in the total population. Total population मान लो 100 crores है, उसमें 54 crore is employed. That is what? Working population. तो ये वाले लोग थे जो काम करना चाहते हैं. These are the people who are working. The difference between them are unemployed people. Unemployed people divided by total who are willing to work into 100 would be give you the percentage of unemployment. Unemployment rate is defined as percentage of unemployed persons in the labor. Okay. Now, ये तीनों टर्म्स सबको समझ में आए? पक्का? कोई क्लैरिटी नहीं है? बिकॉज इस पे भी बनाऊंगा मैं क्वेश्चन, ध्यान से सोच लो। आपको लग रहा है मजाक कर रहा हूं? नहीं? उसे भी समझाते दे। Now come back to this usual status. For a person to be categorized as employed as per usual status, हम किस किस पर्सन को एम्प्लॉयड कंसिडर करेंगे? कोई साल में 1 दिन काम कर ले रहा है तो क्या उसे एम्प्लॉयड मानेंगे? तो फॉर अ पर्सन टू बी कैटेगराइज्ड एज एम्प्लॉयड एज पर द यूजुअल स्टेटस PS plus SS, he must have pursued an economic activity at least 30 days during 365 days preceding the date of survey. In this situation उसे एम्प्लॉयड मानेंगे. नाउ द व्हाट इज दिस PS plus SS? यहाँ पे देखिए प्रिंसिपल स्टेटस एंड सब्सिडरी स्टेटस फॉर, तो प्रिंसिपल स्टेटस सब्सिडरी स्टेटस में ना मेरे को एग्जैक्टली नहीं पता है इसमें क्या होता है, बट आइडिया इज दिस की डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली काम करने का कुछ होता है. आई एम नॉट वेरी श्योर कि व्हाट प्रिंसिपल स्टेटस सब्सिडरी स्टेटस टॉक अबाउट, बट other than this principal status subsidies, do we understand everything? So now LFPR, WPR and unemployment rate. For males you would see it is labor force participation rate, working population ratio, everything is going up, unemployment rate is going down. अब देख रहे हो 2018, 19, 19, 20 and 2021 में it has went down. Female के लिए भी it has went down unemployment rate, and persons overall it has went down. Now the problem is Economic Survey of India has not talked about why in 2021 unemployment rate has gone down. 2021 में तो लॉकडाउन हुआ, सब कुछ हुआ, तो unemployment rate should have gone up. It hasn't discussed this. बस ये डेटा है. Analysis is missing. Everyone would have that doubt कि भाई 2021 में इतने लोगों को घर बैठना पड़ा था. All these people went back, right? अब I'll give you the analysis. I'll give you the reason. It is in the method. Method क्या है? Even if you are working for 30 days in the entire year, you are employed. 30 days तो काम कर लिया होगा. लॉकडाउन भी अप्रैल से शुरू हुआ होगा, और इवन व्हेन पीपल वेंट होम, एमजी नरेगा में काम किया होगा, कुछ किया होगा, तो 30 डेज काम कर लिया होगा. तो इट डजंट गिव अस द करेक्ट पिक्चर ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट सिचुएशन एंड ऑल, बट स्टिल क्या कर सकते हैं, अभी वी आर लुकिंग एट द गवर्नमेंट डॉक्यूमेंट, विल ओनली टॉक अबाउट दैट. नाउ share of self-employed is increasing. Another interesting thing. 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20 एंड 2021 में आप देखोगे सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड लोगों का परसेंटेज ऑफ टोटल वर्कफोर्स में नंबर है 56% of the total workforce is self-employed. When we talk about employment, we generally think that people would be working somewhere else, but majority of the people are self-employed. Now, this number would be very high because think of this, majority of the people in India are still farmers, are still dependent on agriculture sector, and there they are self-employed. There they are self-employed. ओआरएन में सोचो कितने सारे छोटे दुकान वाले हैं, सब्जी वाले हैं, they are all self-employed. देखो, when you are a farmer, वो एम्प्लॉयमेंट में आ जाएगा. वो आ रहे हैं, समझाते. नाउ कम बैक टू फीमेल लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट. फीमेल लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट हमने देखा, यहाँ पे आइए, कम टू दिस टेबल. फीमेल लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट, फीमेल का लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट हैज केप्ट ऑन गोइंग अप. 18.6, 22.8, 25.1, है ना. हियर इट हैड डिक्रीज्ड. हाँ, 1819 to 1920 में you would see slight decrease. Even before this 1819 में this number has come to 16.1 ना. This is among the worst numbers. These numbers used to be much better, but female labor force participation rate is going up. Do we understand this? Here Economic Survey of India ने एक स्पेशल बॉक्स दिया है saying कि यार we are not evaluating it or collecting the data properly. यहाँ पे आपका वाला जो डाउट था उस पर they say that measurement issue in female labor force participation rate is there. We are not measuring the data properly. There are some flaws in the collection calculation of data. What are the flaws? पहला है use of overly broad categories clubbing productive work with domestic duties. When a woman in rural area is going for collection of wood, is doing poultry farming, इन सबको employment में या labor force participation में include नहीं कर रहे. You are clubbing them in domestic work. Now consider the other scenario. Suppose I'm a laborer. I go out, I work in a field, I work in a construction site, I earn money, and from that money I buy some coal. Think of my wife. She's at home and she's collecting wood for cooking food. I was buying coal for so she has also done productive work. She has also done productive work. So why she is being calculated among people who are not participating in labor force while I am participating in the labor force? This is the first problem Economic Survey of India is discussing. It's saying that even those work should be included in the labor force participation rate calculations. और let's say poultry और भेड़ बकरियां. Let's say मेरे घर में भेड़ बकरियां हैं, मुर्गियां हैं, and my wife is tending to them. I'm going out. Someday I go out, I earn money and I buy 1 kg of chicken. That will be considered कि यार पैसा कमा के. But household में the women who is going for animal husbandry, domestic वाला, वहां पे घर का चिकन है, उसने ग्रो किया, उसको जब हम कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं तो वो is not being considered in work. So that is one problem that they are talking about. We have overly broad categories where we have clubbed productive work with domestic duties, and thus we are not getting correct data. This is only one problem. They are talking about certain other problems also. They say that there is no recovery question in PLFS questionnaire. जब PLFS surveys are being done, their questions are asked. So generally International Labour Organization or international standards say that there should be recovery questions. आपका पहला क्वेश्चन होगा क्या आप काम करती हैं, क्या आप नौकरी करती हैं? Women would say no. Then you should have other recovery questions. Do you have do you collect fish from the lake? That she may not consider work. She may not consider that as work, but घर का खर्चा चला खाना वही ला रही है ना. Do you at the time of harvesting go to the field and contribute in the harvesting of the crops? Those kind of other supplementary questions should be there to get the right answer. Just by looking at one question, you may not be able to get correct picture. That is not being done in India. India में no recovery question in the PLFS questionnaire is there, which is giving us a wrong perception. Then measurement of work alongside employment. There is a need to broaden the horizon of measuring work which constitute the whole universe of productive activities alongside employment. तो यहाँ पे हम बोल रहे हैं कि even if the woman is not technically officially employed, when she is contributing in, let's say, tutoring the child, she is doing productive work which is contributing in the human development of the family. Otherwise, in the absence of her contributing, the child may have gone out. And इसे इस तरह से समझो कि if I'm a let's say I'm a female and if I'm tutoring some, आप सब लोगों को ट्यूशन पढ़ा रहा हूँ मान लो, आप लोग और छोटे होते हैं 9th 10th में होता है, मेरे पास मैथ साइंस पढ़ने आते, मुझे पैसे मिलते, तो आई वॉज एम्प्लॉयड. बट इफ आई वॉज डूइंग द सेम थिंग फॉर माई चाइल्ड, I was not considered employed. This is happening with the female, and because of which their PLFS is lower. So it may be noted that 75% of rural female work are employed in the agriculture sector. This implies a need to, अच्छा ये तो दूसरा टॉपिक आ गया. Thus a wholesome measurement of work may require improved quantification through redesign of surveys. These are some problems that Economic Survey of India has discussed. ये broad definitions, no counter question, no recovery questions etc. are creating problems. तो अब देखो लेबर फोर्स रूरल एरिया में लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट में क्या हुआ है. लेट्स गो टू फीमेल लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट. फीमेल लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट in rural area, it's going up 19.7, 24.7, 27.7. Economic Survey of India also says that most of these females are employed in agriculture sector. 75% of them are employed in agriculture sector. ये point था यहाँ पे. And because 75% of them are employed in agriculture sector, it may be noted that 75% of rural workers are employed in agriculture sector. This implies a need to upskill and create employment for women in agriculture related sectors such as food processing. Here SHGs can play a crucial role. Are we getting this? Are we understanding this? Okay. And then they have given a special box on SHG, self-help groups. ये बहुत important topic है for your mains examination. Self-help groups and their role in women empowerment. Do we understand what self-help groups are? Self-help groups. So self-help groups India में ना now they have completed 50 years. The idea, the self-help group movement based on principle of group solidarity and microfinance has existed in India for 50 years in one form or the other, with its roots tracing back to formation of Self-Employed Women's Association in 1972. So here women come together. देखो आप by the way पहले ना whenever we say SHG we only think of women SHG. That's not the case. Most of the SHGs are women SHG, but SHGs में males भी हो सकते हैं. So fully discriminate नहीं करना है पहली बात. Now because they are contributing a lot in women empowerment, that's why we generally when we talk about SHG we think of women come. So idea क्या है self help group का? Look at the name, self help group. A number of people would come together to solve their common problems. They will help each other. For example, this self-help group would be able to gather some loan from take some loan from the bank. With that, it will be able to give sub loan to the members. It may be able to it may be mobilizing some resource by coming together and then helping individual members. It may be that it is through this SHG initiatives of education, initiative of training is going on. That this SHG together, individuals may not have that much bargaining power, but अगर एक 50 women का SHG है, their economic contribution can be so big that they will have a bigger bargaining power. For example, let's say during COVID-19, when there was a scarcity of masks in rural areas, people were not wearing masks. COVID-19 mask could be made from clothes also. A 50 women or 100 women ka SHG, it comes together and starts manufacturing this mask and then starts supplying it. Their bargaining power would be much higher than the bargaining power of the individual women. So self-help group focus on these dimensions. So the transformative potential of SHG exemplified through the key roles in on-ground response to COVID-19 has served as the fulcrum of rural development through women empowerment. So basically, they're saying that SHGs have shown that they can contribute in economic empowerment of women, they can contribute in social empowerment of women, they can contribute in improving household situation, they can contribute in improving law and order situation, they can contribute in making women aware of the legal rights that they have. They play a very important role. India has around 1.2 crores SHGs and 88% of them are all women SHGs. What does it mean? It means that there are SHGs which have men also. Success stories include, अब ये prelims के लिए, yes, there is cooperatives का ना, देखो cooperatives का well defined laws, rules, regulations are there. Cooperatives are set up under that. No, that's not the case with SHGs. Okay, success stories include Kutumbashree in Kerala, Jivika in Bihar, Mahila Arthik Vikas Mahila Mandal in Maharashtra, Looms in Ladakh. तो प्रीलिम्स में ये सवाल आ सकता है कि लूम्स SHG आर फेमस फ्रॉम विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेट्स, इस तरह से क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. तो लूम्स, इट वाज इन न्यूज रिसेंटली, देयर वर्क वाज इन न्यूज रिसेंटली एंड द लूम्स, the term for SHG is being used in the state of Ladakh, the Union Territory of Ladakh. Now, in 1992, SHG Bank Linkage Project was launched, where self-help groups were linked to the banks, through which they blossomed into world's largest microfinance project. Now, what is the idea? Idea was this: SHG, because this SHG was linked to bank, they could collect money, small amount of money, deposit it in the bank, or they could borrow money from the bank and एक इंडिविजुअल को बैंक पैसे नहीं दे रहा होता. Why? Because there is no guarantee associated, that individual may not have collateral. But now that individual is part of the SHG and SHG can support, vouch for that person and indirectly ensure that money is available, fund is available to that person. Currently, bank link SHGs are promoted through central government, state government as well as NGOs. So SHGs are being linked to bank under this initiative by all these bodies. Now SHG generally practice this 5 sutra or Panch Sutra. What are the 5 sutras which SHGs follow? Regular meeting. SHG एक गांव में बना, कुछ औरतों ने मिलकर बनाया. They should be meeting regularly. There should be regular saving mechanism available. Regular interloaning. Interloaning means SHGs helping each other. Timely repayment and up-to-date books of account to avail loan from the bank. So they can avail loan from the bank, but these 5 Panch Sutra should be followed. With the active collaboration of stakeholders, the SHG BLP covers today 14.2 crore families and 1.19 lakh SHGs. This is the impact that SHG's bank link program has been able to have. Now, women empowerment में ये हमने समझा दिया है कि social में, educational में, economic empowerment में, in everything they have played an important role. According to recent assessment by Deen Dayal Upadhyay Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Deen Dayal Upadhyay DAY, National Rural Livelihood Mission, which is being undertaken through SHGs, both participants and functionaries perceived high impact of the program in areas related to women empowerment, self-esteem enhancement, personality development, reduced social evils, and additionally medium impact in terms of better education, higher participation in village institutions, and better action to government schemes. So basically this study is also showing कि SHGs ने ये सारे advantages दिए हैं, short term advantages also and medium term advantages also. COVID-19 response also is an example of SHG's potential, is a montage of SHG potential. Montage क्या होता है? Collection of pictures, collection of examples. Okay, so it's an example of SHG's potential. SHGs played a very important role in spreading awareness. They played an important role in mobilizing resources. They played an important role in doing something like, let's say, making masks. They played a very, and because by looking at their potential, government also under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan made changes which were favorable for SHGs. For example, the collateral free loans which women SHGs could get earlier was of up to 10 lakh rupees. This was increased to 20 lakh rupees. Similarly, National Rural Livelihood Mission allowed for an additional vulnerability reduction fund of 1.5 lakh to be extended to village organization in COVID hotspot areas and for vulnerable groups. इसमें यहाँ पे बहुत सारे examples हैं. What role did they play during COVID-19 and in general what roles SHGs play. Generally, way forward में we are saying कि some more changes need to done to make them reach their full potentials. To make SHGs reach their full potential, there is still inter-regional disparities. There are states where SHGs are very strong, SHGs are very empowered. There are other states जहाँ पे this kind of collaboration has not happened effectively. So they are asking about focusing on that, graduating SHG members into micro entrepreneurs. SHGs are empowering people, yes, SHGs are empowering women, but they need to be provided more training, more skills, so that they can convert into entrepreneurs, small businesses. Finally, culturally contextualized skill development for moving up the value chain in product and services can be crucial, and least privilege under SHG umbrella ka inclusion is also important. SHGs may, even in a village, we have to ensure that the weakest section, people from weakest section are part of this SHG for the benefits of SHGs to be more inclusive, to reach more people. You know, completely main centric topic tha, but it's very important, and that's why I have tried to include all the dimensions which was given in Economic Survey of India. At the time of mains, we will cover a lot of other things, but this is only what was given in Economic Survey of India. Okay, so now coming back to, we are talking about employment, है ना? So employment में demand side, supply side, right? Demand side में in supply side we saw labor force participation rate, PLFS, periodic labor force survey. उसमें what is the situation? Employment is improving. As per periodic labor force survey, employment is improving. Principal status include those who worked for less than 30 days in a year, and subsidiary status include those who have worked for more at least 30 years in a year. ठीक है. इम्तियाज is telling us वो principal status and subsidiary status में, इम्तियाज is saying principal status का मतलब है people who have worked for less than 30 days in a year, and subsidiary status include those who have worked for at least 30 days, that is at least 30 or more than 30 days a year. तो यू आर सेइंग कि एम्प्लॉयमेंट में वो भी इंक्लूड होंगे क्या? चलिए मैं देखते हैं उसको. लेट्स कम बैक टू द डिमांड साइड एम्प्लॉयमेंट वाले एस्पेक्ट को समझते हैं. QES conducted by Labor Bureau. So QES is quarterly employment survey. It is not done in the entire sector. It is done in 9 major sectors. Which sector? Manufacturing, construction, trade, transport, education, health, accommodation and restaurant, IT, BPOs and financial services. These 9 sectors account for 83% of the total employment in establishment with 10 or more workers. So QES is done on a quarterly basis here. अभी तक 4 QES हुए हैं. And this is the result of the 4 QES. Financial year 2022 में, that is financial 21-22 में 4 QES has happened, and this is the result. Estimated number of workers according to QES. Number of workers यहाँ पे they were in lakhs, so 300 lakh, 3 crore, 3.1 crore, 3.15 crore, 3.18 crore. Number of people who are employed in these sectors, in organized sector, has been going up. And of these sectors, of these 10 sectors, what is the distribution? You will see that 39% of the people are working in the manufacturing sector. 39% of the people are working in the manufacturing sector. QES. तो प्रीलिम्स के लिए क्या याद रखना है? QES कौन कंडक्ट करता है? Which are the industries which are covered in here? And what is the situation that they are talking about? तो last 4 surveys में अभी situation is, employment surveys में situation is improving. So even as per periodic labor force survey, situation was improving. Here also situation is improving, but here देखो they are talking about 2021-22. So this may be true, but वो explanation की 2021 में how more people were able to work when compared to 1920 अभी भी बहुत clear नहीं है. Okay, now let's come. So did we understand QES? Do we have clarity on it? Now let's go to annual survey of industries. Again demand side की तरफ से. So ASI is conducted by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. इसे we have to differentiate from the QES. QES was being done by Labor, Ministry of Labor and Employment. Right? Now, which industries does it cover? देखो annual survey of industries है, तो ये सर्विस सेक्टर नहीं कवर कर रहा है, इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर कवर कर रहा है. इट कवर्स ऑल फैक्ट्रीज विच आर रजिस्टर्ड अंडर सेक्शन 2M1 and section 2M2 of the Factories Act 1948. So what is covered in section 2M1 and section 2M2? Those factories employing 10 or more workers using power and those employing 20 or more workers without using power. These are the two kind of factories which are included in, which are registered under these sections of Factories Act. अगर आप पावर यूज करते हो, आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यूज करते हो, and if you have employed at least 10 workers, if you are not using electricity power but you have employed 20 workers, more than 20 workers, then those would be included in this survey, annual survey of industries. What is the survey saying? As per annual survey of industry FY20, employment in organized manufacturing sector has maintained a steady upward trend over time. Employment in organized manufacturing sector has kept on going up in terms of share of employment. अलग अलग सेक्टर्स हैं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में, सबसे ज्यादा शेयर कहाँ है? फूड प्रोडक्ट्स इंडस्ट्री. 11.1% of the work is in the food products industry, followed by wearing apparel 7.6 work, basic metal 7.3 and so on. I have not included the entire list. So there are three broad surveys: periodic labor force survey, quarterly QES and then ASI. कौन कौन कर रहा है? So all three of them are saying employment situation is improving. All three of them are saying employment situation is improving. अब who is doing it? ये हमें पता होना चाहिए. कौन सी मिनिस्ट्री इन्वॉल्व है ये पता होना चाहिए क्लियरली, क्योंकि वो है दैट इज वेरिंग. बाकी रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स आर सेम. Samakshi is asking, are ASHA workers part of SHGs? बेटा समझो, SHGs and ASHAs are different things. So ASHA worker may be part of SHG. ASHA worker may be a woman, may be a person who is participating in some SHG. ASHA worker may also be a mentor there. But जो आशा वर्कर का आइडिया है वो ICDS से आता है, इंटीग्रेटेड चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट स्कीम्स, वहां से आ रहा है ना. SHG and ICDS are two different things, two different aspects. Anyways, employment वाली दोनों बातें समझ में आई. What is Economic Survey of India saying about the employment situation and the three surveys which they have used. Moreover, we also understand those things: unemployment rate क्या है, PLFS क्या है, and working population ratio, what is that? Formal employment. Now, for formal employment, we can look at EPFO data or ESI data. They're saying that as per those data also situation is improving. Demand for work under MG Narega in July to November 2022 it went down. Again a good picture. In 2020-21 demand for work under MG Narega went up. Why did it go up? Because बहुत सारे लोगों का जॉब छूटा था, तो they were demanding work in MG Narega. It is going down and now it is indicating what? It is indicating that there is swift recovery in the economy and people are going back to the work that they earlier used to do. Are we clear about this? Okay. जो NCS portal के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था ना वहाँ पे, here NCS portal is given in much more detail. So when I was making notes वहाँ पे मैंने NCS portal देखा, उसके बारे में झट से कुछ लाइनें ऐड कर ली थी. Later I found that NCS portal के बारे में more details are given here. Please go through it. Okay, आप अपने आप से पढ़ेंगे इसे NCS portal के डिटेल. Let's now quickly go to education. Education sector. Important schemes of FY23, both in school education and higher education. Schemes, initiatives, programs that have been launched. But before we go to schemes, let us understand how many people are there in schools. इंडिया में 26.5 करोड़ चिल्ड्रन आर एनरोल्ड इन 26.5 करोड़ चिल्ड्रन. इससे देखो अगेन व्हाई a reform at school level can impact the whole country. Why you can have more impact than anyone else, है ना? As education secretary or as a policy maker there, you can bring a change which is going to impact so many people. So there are 26.5 crore children who are enrolled in school. Enrollment rate has been going सारे लेवल्स पे एक्सेप्ट प्री प्राइमरी लेवल. प्री प्राइमरी लेवल मतलब प्राइमरी से भी नीचे वाला जो प्ले स्कूल वाला लेवल होता है, एक्सेप्ट प्री प्राइमरी लेवल enrollment rates have gone up. Why at pre primary level enrollment rates would go down? Population, right? So increase across all levels, primary, upper primary, secondary and higher secondary. At the pre primary levels, enrollment reduced from 1.1 crore in FY21 to 1.0 crore in FY22. One reason may be number of children who are born, but उससे भी बड़ा एक और reason हो सकता है कि 2021-22 was again वो डेल्टा वेरिएंट एंड ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट. अब प्ले स्कूल इतना इंपॉर्टेंट इंडियन कल्चर में समझा नहीं जाता, बच्चे को घर पे ही रख लेंगे. आर वी अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस? एंड देयरफॉर स्कूल भेजना थोड़ा सीरियसली लिया जाता है, बट प्री प्राइमरी स्कूल जहां पे ग्रुप्स हो उनका खोलना भी अलाउ नहीं करेंगे बहुत टाइम. एंड दैट इज व्हाई दिस नंबर में बी मच लेस. दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी एन इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर. Is population playing a role here? That we would get to know what happens next year, right? School dropout rates at all levels have witnessed a steady decline. Again a good thing, enrollment rate is going up and dropout rates are going down. Total dropouts in percentage was 1.5% at primary level, 3% at upper primary level and 12.6% at secondary level. जितने ऊपर जा रहे हो उतना dropout बढ़ रहा है. Makes sense. Now we'll talk about important schemes for school education which were launched in financial year 23. So first is PM School for Rising India, PM Shri. अब PM Shri is supposed to act as a model school. PM Shri के अंदर क्या किया जाएगा? A school would be identified which will be developed as model school, and then it will provide leadership to all the neighborhood schools as well. It will have good facilities, it would have the better quality of education, and that would ensure that learning from it other schools would also improve. So it's a centrally sponsored scheme launched on 7th of September 2022. The school will be equipped with modern infrastructure and showcase the implementation of NEP and emerge as exemplary school over a period while offering leadership to other schools in the region. Under the scheme, between financial year 23 and 27, 14,500 PM Shri schools would be developed, which is going to directly impact 20 lakh students. Indirectly, because it will be providing leadership to other schools also, indirectly it will impact much larger number of people, but directly it will impact around 70 lakh people. Are we clear about it? PM Shri समझ में आया सबको? Okay, let's go to the next scheme. National curriculum, ये scheme नहीं है, National Curriculum Framework for Foundation Stage. New curriculum framework, National Curriculum Framework for Foundation Stage. Now, under this, what has been done? A new 5+3+3+4 curriculum structure has been brought in for foundation stage, for school stage. 5+3+3+4 ये curriculum structure का मतलब क्या है? जैसे class 9, 10, 11, 12, 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5 and प्री स्कूल से क्लास 2 तक का जो स्टेज. तो नाउ द नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क हैज बीन डिवाइडेड इनटू दिस मैनर, 5+3+3+4. दिस इज समथिंग दैट हैज बीन रिकमेंडेड बाय NEP also, National Education Policy also. This has been brought as articulated in NEP 2020. The NCF uses play at the core of conceptual, operational and transactional approach to curriculum organization, pedagogy, time and content organization and overall experience of the child. It will deal with the role of teachers as well as parents and communities in enabling and enhancing the development outcomes that are sought during the various stages 5+3+3+4 stage. Bal Vatika. What is Bal Vatika? Bal Vatika is initiative that has been launched in Kendriya Vidyalaya, 49 Kendriya Vidyalaya, where focus will be on developing cognitive, affective and psychomotor abilities and also early literacy and numeracy for students in the age group of 3+, 4+ and 5+. ये तो जो छोटे बच्चे हैं उनमें बचपन से ही कॉग्निटिव, अफेक्टिव एंड साइकोमोटर एज वेल एज लिटरेसी एंड न्यूमरेसी स्किल्स अच्छी क्वालिटी के डेवलप करने के लिए बाल वाटिका इनिशिएटिव हैज बिन स्टार्टेड इन 49 केंद्रीय विद्यालय स्कूल. फाइन, ये स्पेशल पर्पस चीजें नहीं है, इट्स जस्ट an idea that is being implemented initially here so that in future more such initiatives could be launched in other schools for better cognitive development, better let's say intuitiveness, better innovative thinking being developed among students right from the childhood. Toy based pedagogy. Toy based pedagogy में using toys for various educational purpose is something that is being promoted. So a handbook for toy based pedagogy has been designated to promote integration of indigenous toys and their pedagogy into the curriculum of school education. Then we have an app called Prashast that has been launched. Prashast is a disability screening mobile app. So throughout the schools, throughout all the schools, under Disability Act there are 21 Disabilities Act 2016 there are 21 disabilities which has been defined. This app will be used in schools to identify existence of various kind of disabilities. प्रशस्त, ठीक है. प्रीलिम्स में ऐसे ही छोटा सा स्टेटमेंट आएगा प्रशस्त किससे एसोसिएटेड है, यू मस्ट क्लियरली नो इट इज फॉर आइडेंटिफाइंग डिसेबिलिटी एट स्कूल लेवल. तो देखो, इट्स अ डिसेबिलिटी स्क्रीनिंग मोबाइल ऐप that has been launched covering 21 disabilities including the benchmark disability as per the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. Prashast app will help in screening disability condition at the school level and will generate the school wise report for further sharing. Then National Credit Framework, NCRF, National Credit Framework. What is this National Credit Framework? It's an integrated framework where, do we understand credit system? क्रेडिट सिस्टम या आपको स्कूल आपको ये 4 क्रेडिट का कोर्स था, ये 3 क्रेडिट का कोर्स था, इस तरह की चीजें आपने समझी. नाउ व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट दिस नेशनल क्रेडिट फ्रेमवर्क, हियर जनरली वी अंडरस्टूड द आइडिया ऑफ क्रेडिट इन कॉलेज व्हेन वी वेंट देयर, बट फ्रॉम प्री स्कूल टू कॉलेज एंड देन देयर आर various vocational training that you may have done. This national credit framework will consider all these and will give you a final like credit score that you have. So taking the vision of the new NEP, the NCRF is an umbrella framework for skilling, reskilling and upskilling, accreditation and evaluation, seamlessly integrating the credits earned through school education, higher education, vocational and skill education by encompassing the National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEFQ, National Skill Qualification Framework and National School Education Qualification Framework. So this is how your skills total number of credits would be calculated. आपने स्कूल में, कॉलेज में, हायर एजुकेशन में, प्लस वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, थ्रू दैट ऑल्सो यू मे हैव अर्नड वेरियस credits, various points, and your total points would be calculated in this manner. Okay. Now this framework has been released for public consultation on 19th October 2022. So this framework has not yet been launched. एक बार launch होगा तो we'll be providing more clarity on what will be the purpose and all. For now it is in public domain. Then strengthening teaching, learning and result for states, STARS initiative. Strengthening teaching, learning and results for states, STARS initiative. STARS initiative अभी एक recently World Bank funded initiative है. पूरा World Bank fund नहीं कर रहा. Part of the money is coming from World Bank, which is focused on quality and governance of school education in Indian states. Not all the states have been covered. Initially 6 states, Himachal, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Odisha have been covered for a period of 5 years. Partly जो loan है that is funded from World Bank. STARS, तो स्कूल में टीचिंग क्वालिटी, स्कूल में गवर्नेंस इंप्रूव करने के लिए स्टार्स इनिशिएटिव है. देन विद्यांजलि. विद्यांजलि इज अ वॉलंटियर और CSR काइंड ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. विद्यांजलि क्या है? लेट्स से I may volunteer for a school. I may volunteer for a school where लेट्स से एक स्कूल में फिजिक्स टीचर नहीं है, मैं वहाँ फुल टाइम फिजिक्स टीचर की तरह काम नहीं कर सकता, बट आई मे गो एंड फुलफिल सम ऑफ देयर रिक्वायरमेंट. और लेट्स से आई एम एबल टू मोबिलाइज सम फंड एंड देयर इज अ स्कूल व्हिच डज नॉट हैव अ लाइब्रेरी. I will go as a in Vidyanjali program. I'll be able to contribute in many different forms in improving the functioning of the local school. Did we understand? This is the broad idea. Details abhi hum read karenge. But did we understand the broad idea? Okay. So with the aim of strengthening schools and improving the quality of school education through community, corporate social responsibility and private sector involvement across the country, the government has initiated Vidyanjali, a school volunteer management program. School में volunteer करना, school volunteer management program. Are we getting this? Are we understanding Vidyanjali? The Vidyanjali portal enables community and volunteer organization to interact and connect directly with the government and government aided schools of their choice and share their knowledge and skills and or contribute in the form of assets, material, equipment to meet the requirement of the school. I can share my knowledge, my skills to the school, or may also contribute in the form of assets, material or equipment to meet various requirements of the school. As of 20th January 2023, 3,95,117 schools have been onboarded and 1,14,614 volunteers have registered under the Vidyanjali portal. Vidyanjali is understood? देखो ये सब ना थोड़े कंफ्यूजन हो जाएंगे, बाल वाटिका, विद्यांजलि, बहुत सारी चीज, बट ऑल दीज आर ऑफ 2023 ओनली, है ना. हम सोशल सेक्टर बाद में पढ़ेंगे समवेयर इन अप्रैल. देयर विल ब्रीफली टॉक अबाउट सम ओल्डर इनिशिएटिव्स आल्सो, जैसे राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट. राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट थोड़ा हमें आना चाहिए, तो वील स्टडी इट इन एजुकेशन समटाइम्स, बट फिर भी मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम्स वुड बी दीज, बिकॉज दीज आर द वंस विच आर देयर इन लास्ट 1 year. राइट टू एजुकेशन भी इंप्लीमेंट हो रहा है पिछले 1 साल में, राइट, बट इट्स अ ओल्डर इनिशिएटिव. वी विल स्टडी दोज थिंग्स ऑल्सो, बट ये थोड़ा सा टिप्स पे रहना चाहिए. द मोमेंट यू हियर विद्यांजलि, वॉलंटियर फॉर वॉलंटियरिंग फॉर गवर्नमेंट स्कूल, एंड फॉर गवर्नमेंट स्कूल. नोट दिस. लॉजिकली सोचो क्यों गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स होगा, क्योंकि देखो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स में आप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंप्रूव कर, आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग, उनका प्रॉफिट, नॉट मेनी पीपल वुड बी इंटरेस्टेड इन दैट. गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में देयर वुड बी. समग्र शिक्षा स्कीम. समग्र शिक्षा स्कीम इज एन ओल्डर इनिशिएटिव, 2018 में लॉन्च किया गया. It was a scheme which subsumed 3 older schemes: सर्व शिक्षा अभियान, राष्ट्रीय माध्यमिक शिक्षा अभियान and teacher education. So what was समग्र शिक्षा scheme? What is समग्र शिक्षा scheme? It's a overarching program for school education sector, जहां पे क्लास प्री स्कूल से क्लास 12 तक का पूरे स्कूल सिस्टम में इंप्रूवमेंट की बात करें. तो थिंक ऑफ दिस थिंग ना, सर्व शिक्षा अभियान, राष्ट्रीय माध्यमिक शिक्षा अभियान, टीचर एजुकेशन, all these things have been subsumed under it, so it's focusing on all these dimensions. Like these were the focus area of Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. These are the focus areas of Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan: administrative reform, quality education, digital education, strengthening of schools, girl education, inclusion, skill development, physical education, and so on. Samagra Shiksha scheme has been aligned with the recommendation of NEP 2020 and has been extended to from FY20 to FY26. So now this is happening. Why Economic Survey of India is giving so much importance to it? Though it's a 2018 scheme, now it has been aligned to National Education Policy and it has been extended from FY22 to FY26. And one of its key component, Samagra Shiksha scheme ka key component is ICT component, Information and Communication Technology component, under which in schools throughout the country, digital education related stuff, infrastructure in terms of number of computer labs, etc. are being set up. Fine. In fact, यहाँ देखो ना, the key components में digital education is one of the key component, and thus ICT sub component of the scheme is focused on that aspect. Okay, these are 7-8 most important education schemes. As I'm telling you, we may cover more education schemes in April. जब हम social sector पढ़ेंगे. Today we are doing Economic Survey of India, so we have only talked about 8 schemes of which are mentioned in Economic Survey of India, but we may do some more schemes. But the most important one, आपको अगर ना कल कोई एक सोर्स मिलता है एजुकेशन की स्कीम्स पढ़ने के लिए, प्लीज नोट दैट उससे भी ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट कौन सा है, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया. बजट में जो इनिशिएटिव्स लॉन्च किए गए ना, दोज आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट वंस, बाकी सब उससे कम इंपॉर्टेंट है. then that is why I am prioritizing Economic Survey of India like anything. मेरी वॉट लग चुकी है, मैं रेड बुल पी के जी रहा हूं, but I'm ensuring that this gets covered as soon as possible. Okay, now let's go to higher education. Higher education में all again as per Economic Survey of India, things are very good, things have improved a lot. They say that higher education system is the laboratory of change for one of the largest young population in the world. India में 15 to 29 years का age bracket में there are 27% of the population. Higher education is going to serve them. And over the last few years, situation has improved. Number of medical colleges in the country, in 2014 there were 387 medical colleges, which has gone to 684 now. Number of MBBS seats, वहाँ पे MBBS है, आपके नोट्स में MBS लिख दिया गलती से. Number of MBBS seats have increased from 51,000 to 96,000. So around 96,000 people in India may get medical education simultaneously. Number of IITs have also increased to 23. There are 1,113 universities in the country in 2022 when compared to 723 universities in 2014. So in general, higher education infrastructure, higher education facilities are going up, and because the numbers are increasing, the colleges are increasing, total enrollment in higher education has increased to nearly 4.1 crore in FY21 from 3.9 crore in FY20. So in terms of, like, in schools there are 25 crore people, in colleges, in higher education institutions there are 4.1 crore people. Female enrollment has also increased to 2 crores. Now देखो 4.1 crore total है, then 2 crore females clearly indicate that even in higher education women participation is good. It's around 50%. In higher education women participation is around 50%. Now various initiatives for higher education in FY23. In financial year 23, the key initiatives, key steps that have been taken for education sector. एक तो है UGC का Research and Development Cell in Higher Educational Institutions. देखो, this initiative is by UGC, not by AICTE, not by any other. UGC is dealing with all the universities. So this R&D is not only for engineering college or not only for research and development cell is not only for IITs or not only for medical colleges. Generally, research and development cell, it's an initiative established to establish an RDC in higher education with the mandate for promoting quality research that contribute meaningfully towards the goal of self-reliant India aligned with the provisions of National Education Policy 2020. It would help create a research ecosystem for reliable, impactful and sustainable research in the country. इससे related guideline was also launched in 2022 by UGC. बात समझ में आई? तो UGC का initiative Research and Development Cell in Higher Educational Institutions in HEI. Are we clear about it? Prelims के लिए factual चीजें हैं, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता अगर आप बोर हो रहे हैं तो. समझ में आ रही है? Second, guidelines for pursuing 2 academic programs simultaneously. अब से पहले, if I was doing BA in history, simultaneously I could not do BTech. है ना? Simultaneously it was not allowed, but now it has been allowed. और उससे related guidelines have been released. UGC in April 2022 issued guidelines to allow students to pursue 2 academic programs simultaneously. This is keeping in view the objectives which have been envisaged in National Education Policy 2020. National Education Policy provides for a flexible curricular structure to enable creative combination of discipline for study. So what I may be doing, a student can pursue 2 full-time academic programs in physical mode, or 2 academic programs, one in full-time, one in physical mode, or both online also. तो 2 programs मैं एक साथ कर सकता हूँ. दिन में मैं इंजीनियरिंग का कोर्स कर सकता हूँ, शाम को बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का कोर्स कर सकता हूँ. So I may be getting 2 degrees simultaneously, and I can do both offline, or one offline, one online, or both online. Guidelines related to this have also been issued by UGC. Indiana Service Prep is asking if we need to remember all the numerical data. No, you do not need to remember all the numerical data. Please understand, आप इतना याद रखो कि roughly 25 crore people are going to school, 4 crore people are in higher education institution, around 50% of them are girls. ये broad numbers हैं, but ये 27.7%, no, you do not have to remember that. है ना? कितने बच्चे स्कूल में हैं ये तो पता होना चाहिए. सर डू एसएचजीज हैव लीगल बैकिंग लाइक कोऑपरेटिव्स, इफ नॉट हाउ डू दे गेट? देखो रिकॉग्निशन कैसे मिलता है ना, रिकॉग्निशन इज बिकॉज ऑफ वेरियस गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स प्रोग्राम्स, इस गवर्नमेंट स्कीम के अंदर इसको बैंक से बेनिफिट मिल रहा है, दोस काइंड। ओके, इंटरेस्ट सब्सिडी ऑन एजुकेशनल लोन, तो जो बच्चे एजुकेशनल लोन्स लेते हैं और हायर एजुकेशन के लिए एंड दे कम फ्रॉम इकोनॉमिकली वीकर सेक्शन वेयर फैमिली इनकम इज लेस देन 4.5 लाख, देयर फुल इंटरेस्ट सब्सिडी इज प्रोवाइडेड ड्यूरिंग द मोरेटोरियम पीरियड। फुल इंटरेस्ट सब्सिडी मतलब कोई इंटरेस्ट चार्ज नहीं किया जाएगा, गवर्नमेंट विल प्रोवाइड द इंटरेस्ट सब्सिडी। मोरेटोरियम पीरियड इज योर स्टडी पीरियड प्लस 1 year आफ्टर दैट। ओके, फाइनली अखिल भारतीय शिक्षा संगम, ये एक मीटिंग हुई थी बनारस हिंदू यूनिवर्सिटी में इन जुलाई 2022। इट वाज इन कोलैबोरेशन विद मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन एंड एसोसिएशन विद यूजीसी एंड बनारस हिंदू यूनिवर्सिटी। द इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया हैड आल्सो डिस्कस्ड दिस इन वन ऑफ द बॉक्सेस, so I've included it, not very important। जो स्कीम्स वगैरह पढ़े ना, those are important, you should be clear about those schemes। ठीक है, this was chapter 6। chapter 6 में we have covered around 100 initiatives। आप देखेंगे पिछली बार भी 40-50 किए थे, इस बार भी घूम फिर के 30-40 तो करे ही हैं, राइट, ओनली इन चैप्टर 6। ये दिस वाज 25% ऑफ इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया। दो क्लास लग गए ना, टोटल 10 क्लास लगनी है इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया में, उसमें से 2 इसी में लग गई। दिस ऑल्सो टेल्स यू दैट इट वाज अ प्रिटी बिग थिंग। ठीक है, थोड़ा लेट हो गए हम, हाफ एन आवर का ब्रेक लेते हैं, है ना। फॉर स्टूडेंट्स हु आर वाचिंग इट ऑन यूट्यूब, प्लीज नोट कि आपका एक दूसरा यूट्यूब लाइव है जो 5 बजे से चालू होना था, बट विल स्टार्ट इट एट 5:15। ठीक है, सेशन 2 स्टार्टिंग एट 5:15। that will be chapter 7 ना,